it was quite popular even before we said
Mm.
anything. And I think like part of it is because it was pitched before, which is quite interesting because why did it pass now and not back in like I
Yeah.
think 2014 it was pitched? And I think the game, the community, and even the team just wasn't ready. Like we
Yeah.
couldn't really have done the sailing that we're doing now back then. The team was too small. We
Mhm.
didn't have the tech support for it, but now we do.
Yeah.
The fact that it even passed the poll is a testament to the trust that the community has in us now
Mm.
in building something that is worthy of being the first skill.
I think I'm very glad that every skill up until now failed. We weren't ready. The community weren't ready.
Yeah.
I quit RuneScape with VOC. It wasn't my cup of tea thereafter. And then I came back with old school. And then like, whilst even I joined Jagged in 2015, didn't join the old school team until 2017, I was still voting in polls like, I'm going to vote in a way that I think the team can continue to build the game in a way that it feels old school. And that means I'd vote no to some stuff.
I just
me
vote
too.
selfishly based on what I do and don't want coming into the game. I take away all professional bias and just look at it from a player's point of view.
Was the intention the entire time, but like, I've played RuneScape forever. I want to go and work on RuneScape. Or did it just happen?
I didn't even know that I wanted to work in games.
Okay.
So I've never known what I want to do when I grow up. I still don't in a way.
Yeah.
But somehow I manage.
I want to pay my bills and stay alive.
And play RuneScape.
And play RuneScape.
But no, I always sort of like career or like school wise at the time chose whatever would put me in a position where when I know what I want, I've made the choices so that I can get it. I got a degree within like computer science, basically, because I knew that I'm probably going to work with computers. I'm pretty good at that. So that leaves my options open. I could go into like web development, I could do games, I could do whatever. And it just so happened that around the time when I was finishing my degree, there was a job listing. So I applied and I didn't actually get the job the first time.
Okay.
I completely butchered the technical because I was too scared. My nerves were sky high. I remember it really well. I was actually flown over from Norway, where I lived at the time, to do the technical or to do the interview. And I just butchered it. It was so bad. I beat myself up over it. But I decided to try again because I knew that I could do better. And the second time I applied, that was like, I want to say a few months later, like probably half a year later. At that time, COVID was rising. So everyone here had started working from home. And I couldn't get flown over because I would have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So we did the interview online, still did the tech assessment, and like as far as I'm concerned, nailed it. I wasn't that nervous anymore. Maybe it was because it was online, or maybe it was just because like I knew what to expect that time. But yeah, it went a lot better. Got the job and got offered to, move over basically. That was a requirement that I had to live in the UK because of tax reasons. And so I was like, even though we were going to work from home, I had to move over. So during COVID, there were no vaccines yet or anything. I had to move to the UK, quarantine for 2 weeks upon arrival. So I couldn't like go buy the stuff I needed for my new house. I couldn't even like view the house before I went. Luckily, I knew Husky at the time, so he was able to view a place for me. Had to order everything off of Amazon and Tesco delivery and stuff. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I wouldn't recommend moving during like a global pandemic, especially across countries. But I no regrets. I'm happy I did it.
So that was junior content dev role, was it?
Yes.
And now
yeah.
you were content dev, and now you're senior content dev. Is that right?
Yes. Well, we've in that time changed over to game designer titles, but I'm doing the same thing, yeah, but at a senior level. So now I actually manage people as well, which is a new challenge for me. But yeah, it's interesting. I still do a lot of the same like work, I suppose, but I sort of have like three main responsibilities. One being like development, and then management, and then also like project management, essentially, which on sailing is quite time consuming because I have to make sure that like we work well with other departments as well. So like looping in audio with things and working well with art and like trying to figure out things across departments.
Which of those kind of three pillars you mentioned are like, so obviously sailing is the main focus right now.
Yep.
I know you said you don't know what you want to do when you grow up, but are you thinking what's next? Like, are you looking at maybe like Kieran, who's moved into like design director role, coming up from QA and then into dev and designer and stuff, people management? What do you reckon we're going to try and go into. What do you enjoy the most?
So what I enjoy the most is probably just working directly on the game. So the design and implementation part of it. But I do get a lot of fulfillment, I guess, from like coaching people and seeing like them getting better at their work as well. So I'll probably go into more of a management route. I think where Kieran's at the moment is like almost a bit too detached from the game. Like he doesn't get to program anymore. He doesn't do like the groundwork design stuff that I still do. So I think maybe if I could go like into a lead position without quite going further, basically, would probably be ideal for me. For now, maybe I change my mind in the future.
And just to clarify for players, Kieran is not too detached from the game, but that role is too detached for your preference of wanting to work closer to the game.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
You still want to write code, and Kieran
Yeah.
doesn't
Yes,
get much
yeah.
at all chances to write code.
And if anything,
essentially.
he's probably more in touch with the entirety of the game than I am,
Mm-hmm.
because I work on project specific stuff. So like I'm in Sailing World. I don't keep up with like everything else going on.
Yeah.
But Kieran oversees all of it, right? So like with that, he doesn't program on the individual projects, but he makes sure that like all of the projects are coming out on time and like helping people make decisions and stuff like that.
I'd like to go back to Runefest. I heard there was a funny story. I was promised a funny story.
Yes. Okay. Runefest. I got there Friday for rehearsals,
Mhm.
right? That basically took all day, getting settled into the hotel and stuff. Saturday, up early, just running around all day, doing my stage stuff, looking at how players are like dealing with sailing in the LAN area. Even did some press interviews on the day, so like I was quite drained. Like I'm not
Mhm.
used to that much like social interaction in one weekend, so that was wild for me. And then in between all of that, like players coming up to me and chatting and stuff, which was great. Like I loved that, but it was also very draining because I'm not used to it. And the same happened on the Sunday, and I was getting really cold. Like it was freezing at the venue, which makes sense because you're running around all day, so you're quite stressed and like probably a bit tired. And there's like thousands of people in there, so they have to keep the aircon going, right? So I had my hoodie on, so it was a bit more hidden, so to speak. So people, unless they knew my face, wouldn't know that I was a JMod because they couldn't see like the
You
JMod
covered up the t-shirt. I
t-shirt.
see.
Exactly.
Were you not wearing the
Um,
Runefest hoodie?
I was, but I think players just took that as like
Okay,
a generic.
it's just a generic Runefest hoodie. Okay, yeah. Because like no one was wearing them, were they? It was all the t-shirt.
Yeah. So I was a bit more hidden. People still recognize me, but not as often. And I had some spare time between things, so I went to get some food, and I wanted to just sit down because I was exhausted. I couldn't find a place to sit, and there was this table with like one girl sitting there. So I was like, "Hey, can I sit here? Is that okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And I could see that she didn't know who I was.
Okay.
I was like, "This is great. I get to have my lunch in peace. Like, it's awesome. I can have a break." And then we just started chatting about the game, and she told me like she plays RuneScape and stuff. So like RS3, not old school, which
Okay.
is like probably why she didn't know who I was. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I play old school," which isn't a lie.
Yeah.
But I also
You didn't-
kind of avoided telling her that I work on the game. So I feel a bit bad about like, having that lunch with her and like kind of hiding that. But at the same time, like I was just really appreciative of it being like a normal conversation and not like stressful for me.
Yeah.
I just got to have my lunch and chill out. It was good.
Aw, that's actually really
Those little
sweet.
moments of respite are so nice at Runefest, though.
Which feels really bad to say because it's like I don't think anyone comes out of Runefest and says, "Oh my god, it's it's awful that so
No.
many people want to come and talk to us." It's more that the thing that I find the worst is that I don't have enough energy to give everyone the kind of like attention that I feel that they deserve. Like I want to make people feel appreciated just as much as they make like me feel appreciated when they come and speak to me. There just become a point where you are so tired, so exhausted that you just want to be able to escape from it all for a few moments to just like get yourself back together. I didn't have the same situation as you, but there was like there was a panel talk going on the main stage, and I'd grabbed some like chicken tendies, I think it was, and chips, and I just went and sat in the furthest section of seats possible on the corner on my own. And I think people had realized at that point, they walked past like, "Oh, it's Modai's." I'm like, "I'll leave you to have your lunch, enjoy it." And I was just like, "Thank you so much." Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're bang on. Like, I want to have that energy to talk to everyone, but sometimes that means that like you need to take a little bit of time,
Yeah,
recharge, and then come back stronger.
for sure.
We had like a marketing, social, CM, CS. I think all of us. Too many teams in one teeny weeny wee room.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd escape to. Like, okay, recharge, let's go back again.
I couldn't recharge in there. It was there's just too much. I just felt like trapped in there. So I was in and out the fastest I could ever be to avoid that area.
We had some funny moments. There was a walking back from having some drinks on the very last
Oh,
night.
God.
It must have been 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And this dude, I want to say Finnish guy, I think he was.
I think he was from Finland, yeah.
Hammered, made 0 sense whatsoever, but very, very funny. But he was bewildered that he was like, "What, Sweden? What, Isa? What are you doing here?
Yeah, what are you guys
walking
doing here?
back, man?"
But
You've broken him.
it's just too good because
We were talking to him for about a good 40 minutes. I say talking to
Yeah.
him. It was the same line over and over and over
literally,
again.
I
It was
reckon
like
we were
talking to a
there
broken
for about
NPC.
25 minutes and he was just like, "Oh, did you guys know?" And we were like,
Know what,
"Did
mate?
we know what?" He was like, No, you have to listen to me. You have to listen to me. Did you know?" And I'm like, "Did we know what?" He was like, "You're not listening. Did you know?" And I'm like, "No, we are listening. You're just not saying anything."
Well, did you? Did you know?
I mean, by the end of it, we kind of knew. His mate came and was just like, "What?" He was also like surprised to see his friend.
Yeah.
And then us two talking, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" We're like, "Nothing, bro. We're talking about nothing
Yeah,
at all
and he
right
kept,
now."
then he started repeating it to his friend as well. He was like, I was trying to tell the guys, asking them if they knew, and he was like, "If they knew what?"
And then he got involved.
He's just like,
And then
"It's
we're
so
all
true."
stuck, and someone else coming over like, "Don't, you're gonna regret it. Don't come anywhere near. Stay clear. Stay well."
But I
clear."
felt so bad because even at like 3 a.m., I wanted this person, to feel like that would, they'd had time with us, and eventually it got to the point where it was like, "We're gonna have to go, mate. I'm sorry, but I'll leave you."
Magical weekend. I described it not as like the best Rune Fest I've had, but probably one of the best weekends of my life. Like not even work
Yeah.
related. It was just
Yeah.
so fun.
It
I
was
loved
really
seeing
good.
everyone.
Mm-hmm. It was
And
incredible.
then spent the next week on my sofa hallucinating. I had no appetite, but I was so sick, so I was just necking meds, and I was just imagining stuff and watching Halo. That's great.
But I got sick before Runefest, so I think my antibodies were at like an all-time high. And then I
Patient zero.
eventually, I probably made. I'm really sorry to everyone at Runefest. I probably did make you sick. Yeah, I finished Runefest and I was quite okay, albeit very, very tired for a good few days. I find that afterwards it's like all serotonin, dopamine, everything is just it's drained from my body. I am a shell waiting to be recharged. I feel like I was going to make a reference about like freezer in a vat of gel regenerating, ready to be for the next fight. But
Well, you did make that reference.
Yeah, I did
and it's
now.
Very good. It's very
Yeah.
clear analogy. I understand now.
I've been catching up on my DBZ, so I get that reference.
nice, I respect that.
Is that it? Sailing into DBZ.
Oh, well, if sailing is like the One Piece skill, we have to do some like Dragon Ball stuff next, don't we? To be fair, we're doing Dragon Cannonballs. So
Okay,
there might be
Slightly.
something there.
We will have Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna collect the 7 slightly unique dragon cannonballs that are placed around the world, and when you collect them all together, I don't know, like another version of Huey or something is born and grants you
He
a
kind
wish.
of looks like Huey, doesn't he?
Do you know what? I probably shouldn't have said anything because maybe that would be an Easter egg in there now. If not, can
There's
we
still
maybe
time.
do it? Yeah,
There's still time.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
won't, I'll ask Husky. Maybe Husky will do it for
We
me.
just tell players right now that we're doing it.
That would be
Yeah.
so
And then
sick.
they've got
They've got
as
to go
far-
around and find
as
the
far
magic
as they
balls.
know, there is an Easter
That would
egg.
be
Yeah.
They
so
will
sick,
never know whether
dude.
it's there
Yeah.
or not.
My only issue is like it would probably be like a one-time thing, but they could have a mini game where it's like finding the Dragon Balls, and then when you found the 7 by sailing around the seas and the different islands, they would like respawn somewhere. You could get like, I don't know, sailing experience, or like, I don't know, a genie, or like they said, a dragon pops up and you get some sort of like reward for it. Dude, that would be so sick. That would be awesome.
It's
Yeah,
not the
they
first
might
time
just
we've
not
said,
have
"Oh, there's
found it.
something." We've added it to the game, and then
Yeah.
we forgot to do it.
No, because then what we're going to get is like hundreds of posts
I know,
of
I
like,
know.
"Oh, we've been here crowdsourcing for the last 4 days and nothing's happened. Is it even
Like
real?"
fishing spot.
Like the
Yeah.
fishing spot one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, go out and find the magic balls, and if you do, maybe you'll get a wish.
What project do you want to work on next?
Perfect world, I think I would work on raids, but I wouldn't lead raids.
Okay.
So I would just get to like not do the project management side of things, I would just be a dev getting on with my little code bits.
Yeah.
You know, like that would be quite nice.
So someone's managing it and they're like, Elena, go and make some cool shit. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to go make
Go
some
make
cool
this
shit.
boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
that could be
Nice.
quite cool. Looking back at like projects I've enjoyed the most in the past, I would say like Group Iron Man was enjoyable just because of the like sheer impact of it. Like it's changed the game for so many people. And like going back to RuneFest, I had people come up to me and say like, my girlfriend and I have been playing this game mode together, and we just wanted to thank you for making it. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's so
oh,
sweet.
that's so cute. I think I enjoyed like the development side of it most on Guardians of the Rift. Like that was a highlight for me. That was sort of spawned in Game Jam.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think we
didn't do
called it
my
Ideation back
mandatory
then. It's
government
the same thing. And yeah, we had this
Guardians of the
prototype
Rift.
working. We really wanted the players to go back to the altars and like do traditional rune crafting. And that was really cool to get to work on. So I think I'd love to get more involved in raids just because I want to like learn more about combat and doing bosses and stuff, which I haven't really done yet. But also just like somewhat smaller scale skilling updates, like mini games and stuff like that would be cool.
What does your ideal boss look like? Do you have anything in mind?
Putting me on the spot here.
It doesn't have to be in terms of mechanics. Like if you were to be put on raids, right? Let's forget about the current theming that's set for raids. It's just your perfect vision of this is the type of boss that I want to work on. This is what I want to make.
So when it comes to raids, I think there's a very unique case
Dude,
where like
Akka.
you want,
I think
as opposed to like a single player boss, you want to kind of lean.
I think Akka is such a sick fucking boss. Like the different phases, you have that giant fucking like it does so well because you have like a mechanical phase where you're dealing with the machine, and then you have the wardens, and then you have not Akka. I'm thinking the wardens fight, not Akka. I don't know why I called it Akka. Akka's come dude, but the wardens is like probably my favorite fight in all of RuneScape. Like, and then not only do you have the machine that you break down, you then have to fight a warden that you chose, like which to power up. So you get to choose which like big enemy you want to fight, and then you finally fight Tumikin's shadow or whatever the fuck his name is, for the final phase, and it does a throwback to the two other bosses, so you have to deal with their mechanics, assuming you choose it. But like, I think that is just probably like the best fight in RuneScape. It's like difficult, but there are ways to deal with. There are like different ways to deal with it. You can do Skullscape. You can deal with the skulls. Like, it's a banger. It's a banger.
Into the multiplayer aspect of it. I really like it when a boss or like an encounter, I guess, has these sort of roles that players take on. So like, okay, you're the freezer, you're freezing north side maiden, right? Like you're freezing south side. The rest of us, like you're like the machine gun, like that kind of stuff. I really like that.
Okay.
So I would probably want a boss that kind of encourages those kind of roles. So like maybe we lean more into like a more traditional MMO type thing where like you actually have a tank and like that is the dedicated tank and they need to bring like heavy defenses and maybe you have like bonus damage if you attack the boss from like a specific side or something. So you have like a DPS role that's like meant to be in that position. Maybe
Ooh,
someone needs to lean
positionals.
on different spell books to handle different mechanics. Like I really like that sort of
Okay.
thematic of roles, I guess, in raids.
That sounds really cool. And I also fully agree with you. And I remember Theatre of Blood design trying to figure out how to make. I remember there was like this part of like Verzik where there was going to be a main tank role where instead of picking the staff up in Zarpas's room and now using that to take down the shield, it was going to be that there was a pillar or a pedestal in the middle of the room that someone had to go to and shove the staff into to create a barrier that you would then go into to prevent damage coming through. Didn't end up working out that way, and actually Verzik is probably infinitely better for it. But I'm just waffling a load of crap to eventually get to the point of how do you get around the notion, though, of wanting to do these cool mechanical bosses that might require multiple people for a game that, for a lot of people, largely see as like a solo kind of experience? What is that like for you? Do you find it difficult having to potentially not do things that you would really like because the overall player base may prefer something else?
the way I think about it is you can create encounters that are soloable, but not solo efficient. So, looking at Peter
Damn, I
Blow, for
love the way she
example, that's a
put
bit of an
that.
extreme example, maybe. It is soloable, but it's just really annoying to do, right? I think if you think of all of the bosses, maybe except for Verzik, that's more of a good place to be in terms of
Soloable,
like,
but not
you can
solo
solo
efficient.
it. It's just a bit slower. It's not efficient to do, but you can do it if you want to. I think with raids, like we want to lean into the multiplayer aspect, and therefore it should be better to go with other people. But I don't want to restrict people from playing alone because I know that a lot of people want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So at least for raids, that's probably how I'd approach it. But we do a lot of other bosses as well that like often are targeted at single like solo players as well.
Yeah.
That's where I'd go. But like, there are so many other bosses. You get so many bosses that are solo friendly or solo favored.
Yeah.
Please give the people who multiplayer some
Something.
fun.
Yeah.
But then a lot of players vote, I guess, like you mentioned earlier, like selfishly, like, well, I don't care. I don't want them to have fun because I want to have fun.
Mm. Which makes sense though. Like I don't
Of
put it
course.
against anyone, right?
They're paying money and they're putting
exactly.
time in.
Paying for the game, putting the time in, and all that.
They want the game to be the, and I totally respect that. This is me.
Yeah. No, I know.
thing
I know
from
you
it
do.
too.
I know. But
I agree with the role stuff as well. But I think what I love about top roles is that they aren't clearly defined. Like you don't have to do that. Whereas I think like some people's criticisms of things like Teams of a Massacre, which is you have to do it as the way the devs intended, or you die. Whereas Top was like, hey, here's some bosses, they've got some mechanics. If you want to go figure it out.
It's quite fluid, isn't it? Like you can handle Maiden without anyone freezing.
Or
Like, that's
everyone,
fine.
or everyone freezing.
Yeah, or
you
that.
could go that. You
Yeah.
go the other route too.
So it's
Not
just like
efficiently.
a mechanic, and then you choose how to handle it. I quite like that option of like there being multiple ways to solve things. It makes things harder to design for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the player experience is better for it.
Got a bit of a heater one. What's more important, good game design or player opinion?
Well, I thought you were going to say player experience because player experience is the real thing.
But player opinion can be formed before player experience.
That's true.
Especially in our game where we have to talk about things before they get to try them.
Yeah.
Not with bosses really, because the extent of that is, hey, we're adding some bosses. They're going to be super fun. Should we add them to the game? Yes or no? And they go, yeah, I want super fun bosses. And then that's the extent of mechanic discussion beforehand.
Which is intentional. I think, back in the days, it wasn't as clear cut as that. Now we purposely will go about it that way so that people have that experience for the first time before their opinion. But yeah, just generally speaking, if we were to see a huge thread about, oh, I really hope that the next raid isn't doesn't require you to go in with multiple people. And we're like, well, actually, it's way better game design if it does require multiple people. As a designer, how do you feel about that kind of like the whole clash between just generally, what makes good game design and player opinions?
When it's player opinion without player experience, so like before they've actually tried the content, I would say game design because trust me, bro. But once they've actually tried it and they've experienced it, if they have opinions at that point, I don't want to cling to something just because it's good game design. Like if it's genuinely not a good experience for you, arguably it's no longer good game design. So
that's fair.
That would be my answer.
You could have the most well-designed game ever with 0 players. So it's not a very good game, dude.
It's not a good game then at that point. No, that's
Exactly.
I like that. So essentially what you're saying is that like past the point of people trying it out, developer or designer ego shouldn't get in the way of what actually makes good content.
Yeah, we don't want to be stubborn, essentially. And we want to be dynamic, listening to feedback. Obviously, we can do that beforehand as well. I'm not saying that all of our designs are perfect. And like, there's a reason we talk to the community. It's not just because we want to hype you up. It's because we want you to like input on the things that we're making and make that design better together.
Well, we make the game for the people at the end of the day, right? And I think that's one of the things that I love the most about the old school team. I kind of felt like, even though I said it was going to be a heater, that's kind of where you would go to because that's where almost everyone in the team should essentially go to because we're all here for the same reason.
You just know me too well.
Yeah, I just thought maybe there's a chance that there was something different in there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go to a silly question now.
Okay.
And I love asking this question.
Oh, God.
So if you were to live in any other version of a life, fantasy world, whatever it may be, what would your kind of like ideal life that you would live look like? You could be a superhero, you could be someone living in the woods, you could be an alien, whatever you want. What is your dream fake reality?
Any franchise, any gaming world, any fantasy thing, sci-fi thing you've read.
Whatever your mind draws you to.
I was really disappointed when I was 11 and didn't get my letter to Hogwarts.
Oh.
So I think I'm gonna have to go
They
with like
fucked
a
up with that.
magical.
They should have sent you it.
I think the owl got lost on the way to Norway or something.
Don't they have a different wizard in school over there anyway?
I didn't get invited to that one either.
Just weren't good enough.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
But yeah, I think
Okay.
a magical world, definitely.
Okay.
I like a bit of dragons and stuff, you know. But at the same time, like, and if we're going Harry Potter, don't want to be around the Death Eaters and stuff. That seems a bit extreme. So like,
Okay.
if I can have the version of that world like after all the Harry Potter stuff's happened, that'd be pretty
Okay.
cool.
So just like a happy, everyone gets along, magical world.
Yeah.
You get to fly around. What are the dragons doing in this world?
Just chilling.
They're just chilling. They're
Yeah.
friendly dragons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it like How to Train Your Dragon style? Like you tame them.
I'd love
They work
like
with
a
you?
crossover of that and like Aragon, basically, like being a dragon rider. That could be pretty
Ooh,
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now.
Yeah.
Dragon riding. I guess I have to call you a witch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dragon
That's my
riding
dream.
witch in a happy magical world.
Yeah.
That actually
Sounds
sounds
pretty
pretty damn
cool.
good, to be honest.
Yeah.
I might transfer over to your realm every now
what's
and then.
yours? Dragon Ball.
No, I was just going to be like this little woodland elf.
Oh.
Yeah, in the
Well,
forest.
you can
Yeah.
combine the two.
What about outside of Jagex, outside of old school? Who is Elena? What does Elena do?
So I live in a house with a big cat. He's massive. He's a
Big
Maine
cat.
Coon. He's a big boy. I run D&D sessions
Really?
once every 2 weeks.
I didn't know that.
Actually, we're on break now, but we picked up RuneScape Kingdoms, which is
Okay.
pretty cool. So we're gonna start
Do you
doing that.
sorry, do you do the sessions remotely? Or-
Yes,
you
yeah.
do.
So when I was in uni, we had a group playing D&D
Mhm.
at the time. I wasn't the DM, so like I started trying that this year, which was really cool. I was thinking of doing a pre-made campaign because it's my first time being a
Okay.
DM. But then I was like, well, I'm a game designer. I feel like I should be able to do a little bit of world building, a little bit of like homebrew. So I created my own little world that they're working their way through. So
Nice. That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's pretty cool. That's nice.
If
little
anyone
hobby.
drops out, can you let me know? I'd
Yeah.
love to join.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thanks.
You speak Norwegian, right?
No. Oh,
Yeah.
you're all in Norwegian. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, that's not going to work out.
We have talked about doing like a work one, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll get that. Set
There's
up.
always talks of it, but then everyone's like, "Are we going to do it in person?" I'm like, I'm not driving an hour and a half to
Yeah.
play D&D as much as I would love to. I can't.
It is quite different in person. Like I vibe with that better.
Yeah.
But with that group, I'd rather play remotely than not play at all.
All right. So the D&D sessions, your world building. What's your favorite food?
Tacos.
Tacos. Ooh, do love a good taco.
Hard shell, soft shell.
Bit of both. Yeah, I mixed it up.
Okay.
That's the brilliant thing about it. Like you can change the toppings and everything. There's always like a bit of a different meal.
The fine answer.
Yeah.
Tacos are great.
The craziest thing I've eaten. I know you didn't ask this, but it
That's
just
okay.
sprung
Keep
to
it going.
mind.
Yeah.
I was in uni. It was like 2-3 a.m. and I'd been out,
Mhm.
come back home.
Found
man,
Nolan all.
I'm really hungry and like a bit drunk, trying to mess around in the kitchen, trying to find any food. Find that I have this like mix of Sichuan, like a Sichuan kit basically.
Okay.
So you have like rice, you have the spices. All you need is the meat. I didn't have any meat in the fridge, but I did have moose meat in the freezer.
Moose.
So
meat.
it's 3 a.m.
This is just like,
I'm
is it a
thawing moose
Norwegian
meat.
thing? You just have moose meat?
Yeah,
Is it common over there?
not super common though.
Okay.
But my family hunt. So
Oh, okay.
they sent me
Nice.
some. They were like, "Oh, my kid's going off to uni. I have to
Boost
send
meat.
her
No
some moose
thanks.
meat."
Hard pass. Not gonna eat
So
a
it's like 3 a.m.
Other
and I'm
meat.
making moose Sichuan, and I swear it was the best food ever. But I don't know if that was because I was drunk at 3 a.m. or
Mm.
if it was just really good. I couldn't tell you.
You haven't recreated it since?
No, it's a masterpiece that like when you repeat something, it's never as good. I
Yeah,
feel like I
okay.
can never achieve that level of cooking mastery again.
If I ever come round for dinner, though, can we have moose meat
Yeah.
Szechuan?
I also do moose tacos.
Moose tacos.
nice.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you miss living in Norway?
I do. I get homesick every time I'm there.
Oh.
So it's weird because I don't feel homesick when I'm here. Then I go back and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Why did I leave this place? Then I come
Aw.
back here and it's like, oh, this is really nice. I love my job. So yeah, there's
Okay,
two
so you're
sides
kind of
to
like
it.
torn. What's
Yeah.
the first thing that you do when you go back home?
I was gonna joke and say eat moose tacos, but that's not really true. Hug my mom, probably.
Oh, that's sweet.
Say hi to my brothers who they're teenagers, so they're just kind of like hi.
Yeah.
And then
that's
go
it.
away.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you for a year. Okay, hi. And then leave.
You just leave and go play video games?
Yeah, Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not old school.
No, I've tried. I've tried getting them into it, but Yeah, it doesn't stick.
We are releasing this podcast just before Sailing comes out.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to players doing? What are you hoping they will do on release?
I hope they don't break the game. That would be very sad.
I've been asked by my boss to
Yeah.
break the servers.
I was
Okay.
literally just about to say that it's very contradictory to what we've been told
Yeah.
needs to happen. The marketing's goal is to break the game. Community's goal is please do not break the game because that makes my life hell. Also makes the developers hell.
So you need to break the game in terms of like get more people in so that the servers are at capacity. and-
Exactly.
yeah.
And then
And then I have to deal with the fact that the servers are at capacity and nothing works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to share a feedback report on how players are really angry and upset that the servers broke while marketing are
But
rejoicing.
look
when
at
they're-
look
they're-
at that
Yes,
no, I
teamwork.
wouldn't, 'cause I'm playing it.
We did it.
Teamwork
been
makes
locked
the
out.
Sweeney in his
dream
little
work.
corner
I've been locked
of
out of
mischief.
launch every single time.
I got what I wanted.
Okay, in an ideal world, then we almost break the servers, but we don't. Don't
Mm.
quite, but we still do really bloody well getting players in, and
Yeah.
they get into the game, and then you hope they don't break it.
So I would love to see people come back to the game to try this out because I feel like you never leave RuneScape. You just take long breaks,
Yeah.
right? There are so many people who are probably at a break right now who are going to come back for this because it changes the game completely, right? And they're probably curious what it's going to be like. So I want to see those people come back. I want to see what their take is on it. And I want to see probably some people from RuneScape as well come over and try it because
Yep.
they're kind of used to having new skills now. So, like, what's their take on what a new skill in old school feels like?
And they've got a great frame of reference to what to expect and
Exactly.
what they want to see from a skill. Okay.
Yeah. And in terms of like the players who like who stick to the game and are here right now, I just want to see like, you know, do you like it? It's that simple. How does it feel? Are you enjoying it? What could we do differently? Because we're planning to keep updating sailing,
Mm.
just like any other skill, but maybe like with a particular focus now because it's so new. We are going to keep giving it updates, but right now we're just guessing, right? Like we're guessing that the community is going to want more depth in this training method, or at this stage next year they're going to want a new quest on an island or something, or that is something that takes them to a new place. But realistically, the best way to shape where we go next is by seeing what players like and what they don't like. And that way we can prioritize what we do next.
On the topic of sailing, what is the craziest bug that you've encountered during development?
There's been a few. I very vividly remember this one quite early on when we were still sort of working out how the boats are going to move and stuff. We found that if you. So it's going to get a little bit technical, but the boats are all
Let me
instanced.
focus.
Yeah,
I'm
focus
ready.
it. Lock in. The boats are instant. That means that you're just allocated some space off the main world where you are. But you're projected to make it look like you're in the real world. But in reality, you're off and like way, way far away. What we found early on is that if I click to move onto your boat, so like I'm on a boat, you're on a separate boat. If I click on your boat, my boat's going to try to path to your instance. So it's just going to yeet itself like off the world, basically. It's going to like try to like go across the world. And this was back before we even had blocking. So like boats would go over land. So I would just sail across the Caribbean desert, like off into the void, into the black, like after the seas ended, like just way off into the void. And we just left it there for like 10 minutes. And eventually it found its way to the instance where your boat is actually at.
Because, thinking about it, it's like you're on a projected version of your boat that's somewhere else entirely in the world in a separate instance. So is the boat that you're on. So, yeah, the technicalities of it, like trying to find that instanced version of the boat whilst it's in its own instance. Are all boats in the same instance?
No.
Are they in their own independent instances?
Yeah. So it's kind of like
Wow.
going into, I don't know, like going to fight Muspa. You're in your own instance. There might be like hundreds of people in their own Muspa instances on that world.
So, yeah, an instance boat trying to find another instanced boat, and it did eventually find that boat.
Yeah, it gets there eventually. It's really far away. So that's another thing as well. With every instance, you could just like go from one to the other technically. It's just usually we don't let you. But a JMod could like just run through them all.
So it's kind of like all built within parallel universes is within the game.
Yeah, imagine it like the multiverse.
All right, I have one last question.
Yep.
Do you have any particular old school RuneScape related secret that you want to no longer be a secret?
Oh, I guess this is a really silly one.
Hmm.
But so like in the back end, when you look at like accounts and stuff, you can
Mhm.
see whether they've ever like broken a rule, whether like they've been reported for different stuff. When I joined the company, I looked at my account and I was
Mhm.
like, what are my offenses? Like, have I ever been banned or anything? Like, have I done bad stuff? And I have one mute from, I think it's 2009, where I told someone to look up badger, badger, badger on YouTube. And that is website advertising, which is strictly against the rules.
Oh
That's
no,
You can't be
absurd.
doing that.
that's actually really lame.
Yeah.
mushroom, snake. That's a
By
It's
2009, wasn't that ancient as well? By
Yeah,
even like
probably.
2009 standards too?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Probably.
think I remember seeing that in like year 5 of middle school.
That literally was like my high school kind of like era. Weeble and Bob, the whole Charlie the Unicorn,
Yeah.
and
It's so much worse you'd be telling people to look up.
literally.
When I first joined a clan at 11 years old, they were like, oh, you're like 11? Brilliant. They were like teenagers and like,
Don't say it.
basically it's the type of stuff you'd expect to see on 4chan.
Okay.
And they found it hilarious. And it was hilarious
Okay.
for them.
All right. I'm for once I'm being a sensible one now and censoring Sween. Normally I'd be like, no mate, go wild, but
Oh,
not
yeah.
in this instance. Holy.
It's
we don't wanna-
normally the other way around. He has to censor you.
I don't think Sween ever really tries to censor me. He just gives me a
Yeah.
look of disappointment, and then I know I've done bad, and I'm
you
like,
censor yourself.
oh, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes I'll say something and I'll look over just to see, is Dad happy or sad right now, and then I'll know whether or not I'm gonna have to grovel later on.
Yeah.
But yeah. Last question, really last question. Do you have any questions for me or Sween?
What's it like having to put up with lots of different devs all the time? Because I know we can be a bit annoying.
That's a good question. I personally love it. I thrive in the figuring out managing indifferences. So
Okay.
it keeps me on my toes. I like that not everything is the same. My team probably will feel a little bit different. And to be honest with you, when I first, because like I do obviously a lot less of the groundwork now. When I first joined Jagex, it was frustrating, but still a good challenge for me. So I like to overcome challenges basically. But there were definitely times where I was like, just don't be that way. To answer it in a different way, I think that the biggest difficulty in that challenge is when sometimes ego can get in the way of player feedback.
Yeah.
And ego is actually, I think it's quite a detrimental term. I don't like using it, so I probably shouldn't use it in these instances. But there are times when, like the idea of a design and being so attached to it can sometimes cloud, I think, someone's vision around, well, actually, is it working or not the way that we'd hoped it to? And that's easy for me to say as someone who hasn't got all of that love and passion put into the hours and hours of time spent working on it. So I completely relate and I try my best to work through that. But there are some times where maybe I'm a little bit more brutal than I probably should be, in the sense of, killing off someone's child and being like, it's just not the way it needs to be or should be. We're going to have to change it. But otherwise, no, I actually really like it. I love working with everyone in the team. Genuinely, there's no real difficulty there. It's just a fun challenge.
What about you, Sweet?
I'll echo Aiz's answer largely. Now I'm obviously not in community anymore, but I was for a number of years. In marketing, now I ask devs, like, hey, can you help out with this creator? Can you give them access to a game world? And everyone's like, yeah, cool, I'd love to do that. So that's easy. Now it's fantastic because I think we've got so many years under a belt of like a really good development process involving community. In 2017, when both Aiza and I did join the team, it wasn't the same. So at times it would be really quite frustrating. But by and large, I love it. Yeah, we've worked with such a good team.
Well, I think it's probably about time that we wrap up. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully,
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been, as I said, it's been our pleasure. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. Hopefully, everyone that is listening has enjoyed it too.
And to the players, I guess, like, give us feedback on sailing. By the time this comes out, sailing is right around the corner or has just released potentially. I don't know the schedule, but yeah, give us feedback. Like I said, we want to hear from you about what's working, what's not working, so that we can shape next year's roadmap around that and really like address the biggest issues or the biggest feedback points as soon as possible.
Sweet. Well said.
All right. Well, until next time, it is all from us for now. Bye.
Bye.
We need a better ending.
Bro, everything is so laggy on this. I hate you. Can I be honest? I don't care about Alan Walker or whatever the fuck his name is. That mean? I don't care about this music artist. It's great. He's played old school or whatever.
Oh, the people that play RuneScape, they're a bit weird. You know, I don't know if I want to like do those.
There have been 2 times I've been watching you and I thought, oh, no, we're gonna lose him. As in, like, we're gonna lose you. We're gonna lose you playing a game.
My lovely fiance has told me that I have been talking in my sleep
Okay.
about dying and stuff like that on my hardcore.
no.
Man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official Old School RuneScape podcast, where we get to chat shit with JMods and creators alike.
This is our chance to get to know the person behind the crown, hear their stories, hear their experiences.
Unless they're a creator, of course, and then I guess it's technically behind the screen that we're figuring out who the person is. Anyway, I'm your host, Madaiza. I'm joined by another host.
Modsween.
And today we have a wonderful guest that we're really excited to be talking to. It is the one and only Guzu. Hello, Guzu. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me. It's was a early flight, but we are here, and that's good. I'm excited to talk some RuneScape.
Really appreciate you taking the time out, and I know that it was such an early start for you.
We're good.
Fueled on energy drinks and now
No, we're good.
hydration.
We're cruising. It's nice.
Awesome. Well, I guess for those watching that may not be familiar with who you are and what you do, how about just a quick intro?
Well, I mean, I'm originally a World of Warcraft content creator. I stream on Twitch and I make videos on YouTube. And my main focus was classic WoW and that aspect of WoW that I really enjoyed playing and I made a lot of content for. And recently I pivoted more towards old school RuneScape and I'm playing it for the first time.
And I guess I have to ask, what was it that made you make the move to old school RuneScape?
Well, I mean, I like the classic MMOs. I like the old school ones. No pun intended, but I always played classic WoW. I played it for way too many years, decades, and there's been a lot of different versions of it, and a lot of years of streaming it and making content for it, and I ran a little bit. I had a little bit of a burnout. I got a little bit tired of it to a certain degree, and had a lot of people ask me or tell me like, you should try out RuneScape, you should do it, and I never played it because back when I was in school, it was always like, oh, the people that play RuneScape, they're a bit weird. You know, I don't know if I want to like do those.
Relax, man.
Yeah, I don't know. But then I learned that I'm kind of weird as well, you know, and I kind of like it. So yeah, I played this game for 2 months now, and I've been very welcomed by the community, at least the people in my stream and everywhere. And it's been really cool. It's been awesome delving into a new MMO for the first time.
Sweet. So I want to go back a little bit further. You mentioned you like old school MMOs.
Yeah.
Did you play anything before World of Warcraft? Are you like kind of Ultima Online head, EverQuest? Did we go quite that far back?
I mean, so I was very young, obviously.
Yeah,
sure. But my first MMO was World of Warcraft. I played the classic version in 2005 when it came out in Denmark, where I'm from, and I played that a whole ton. I have a little bit of a period where I didn't play WoW, and I did a lot of random free-to-play MMOs.
Okay.
You know, I did all those like what's it called, Aeon, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect
Aeon.
World, AC,
Terra, kind of a similar time.
all those. So I played all those, but I have never interacted or played any RuneScape actually.
That's really interesting because I was a complete MMO hopper at the time. When I get a little bit of WoW burnout, I would do the same. And I remember even like things like Silk Road Online and Night Online. These were the craziest free-to-play MMOs ever. But RuneScape was definitely something that was always there whenever I searched. So I kind of like had to play it. I guess, how did you avoid it for so long?
I'm honestly not sure because I feel like at least back how it was for me in middle school, like my friend group, we were all like WoW people, right? So we all talked about WoW, we played WoW, everything was WoW. And then there wasn't really many of my friends that really did RuneScape. I was aware of it. There were some people in my middle school that played it, but I didn't really talk to them. So it just never crossed my mind. So it just completely went under the radar for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's got very different experiences. Like at my school, you were the cool kids if you played RuneScape, but you were not cool if you played World of Warcraft. So I had to pick and choose who I would speak to about games at different times because I was playing
It's
both.
constantly code switching.
Yeah.
It was similar at my school. For a while, RuneScape was cool, and then it became uncool. And then that's when everyone was like, no, I don't play anymore. But
Really?
years later, we now realize we're all playing in secret.
Yeah.
I think it's
the
like
whole
that's
thing.
how it was back in the day, man. When you played MMOs, you were like, you kind of like had to hide it a bit
Yeah.
because it wasn't really that, you're cool if you played Call of Duty and FIFA and all those like cool stuff, right? But MMOs was a bit of a
Dude,
taboo, I guess, to talk about a
Sure.
lot. But
I
I
didn't
guess
give
it
a
was always
shit.
WoW or RuneScape for a lot of people, and
Talk
I
about
just
RuneScape, talk
ended
about
up in
World
the
of Warcraft.
kind of WoW sphere, I
Yeah.
suppose, with all the stuff.
Very common story, so I'm not
Yeah.
surprised at all. Interested to know, in terms of surprises, what would you say is the biggest surprise that you've kind of experienced moving from WoW into old school? And I'm keen to hear both a good and a bad example.
Okay, I mean, that's a hard one. I mean, the biggest thing that I'm quite surprised about is the depth of the skill expression in the game. Like my view on the game or how I saw it, obviously I knew nothing about it. So I was like, oh, well, it's like some point and click game where you get scammed. Right. And then,
You're not wrong.
That was
Dude,
it, right? It's
so
like, okay,
real.
so you get scammed and it's like a point and click game and there's a lot of farming. That's what I like, that like a lot of grinding, right? So it's a grindy game and that's it. And there is a lot of those things in the game, obviously, but there's a lot more to it, I think, than that. And I was very surprised that there's actually a lot of skill expression in how you can do PVM or PKing or the gear swapping and all those different things that you work around with the ticks. And I was also quite surprised that it feels a bit like a rhythm game. Yeah, that's very weird to me, but I've definitely grown to like it a lot. It's something like either you hate it or love it, I think.
Okay. And anything bad? A bad surprise? What haven't you liked?
A bad surprise. I mean, I will say, I mean, my overall experience has actually been quite positive. I went into the game with a quite open-minded approach, and I just tried to like play it for what it is. Obviously, I'm playing an Iron Man, hardcore Iron Man, so my experience may be a little bit different if you play a main. Yeah, I don't know. Something I'm quite surprised about is, I guess it's a bad thing and a good thing, is that you can really just play this game completely solo. That's so weird to me. Like, because it's an MMO, right? But I love it personally. But it's also something that I was a bit surprised about because you can just make your own journey in a way. But I don't know if I have anything specifically like super negative. Maybe agility. I don't like agility.
I'm with you on that one.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it. I do not like that.
Although I hear that it changes, once you get to Hallowed Sepulchre.
Yeah, that's what people say, but I mean, we'll see when we get there.
I can't deal with the rooftops. People say that they're like AFK, but I'm sorry, but if you have to click every few seconds, it's not AFK. So
No.
I have to.
Colossal Worm is probably the closest to AFK, but I think until you hit RD rooftops, it's probably going to be the best bet. Other than that, get ready and be interactive, and you're going to play the Sepulchre, and you'll get XP, and you might have fun.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, really good experience. But I do not vibe with agility, I will say. I don't like that very much. It's a very generic answer, I feel like, but I've had a good
fuck
experience
agility,
playing the
bro.
game.
Well, I'm looking forward to, as a viewer, when you reach the point where you do co-op content like raids. I mean, you can still solo chambers, and many people do, but your first experiences will probably be group. Tombs of a Massacre, you'll probably solo. Many people do. Theatre of Blood, well, that's when you're going to be working with other people, and I think you're going to. That's some of our favorite content in the game. I think you'll have a good time. But anyway, won't spoil that. You'll play unguided, so we'll keep it that way.
As much as I can, at least.
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
fully unguided. I have my chat like kind of pivot me towards stuff that's interesting, and I try to do most of the things I can without being aware of what's going on. But I do look up some things here and there and stuff like that. But I try to the quests. I try to not look up anything, and that's been a very interesting experience.
Dude, it's been
some of the
great.
quests have been pretty crazy.
I'm loving the quest guides you make. The paint guides are become a staple.
They're really great. Yeah.
How are you finding the hardcore experience in terms of do you feel like it's holding? What I hear from people who play hardcore, particularly for the first playthrough, they start holding back because they're less likely to take risks, or they might not engage in the content they might otherwise want to. Are you feeling that way at all?
Definitely. I think I like hardcore because it's essentially like you play the game and then you have fun with it, and you have this cool status that you can flex, right? And we all in MMOs, it's cool to flex, right? That's why a lot of people like. But it's at first I wasn't really too worried about it. I was kind of like joking a lot about it, but like the more and more I played, the more I realized like, damn, I actually kind of do care about the status. And whenever I delve into new content, I'm like, damn, I really actually don't want to die. So, and it is definitely inhibiting me a little bit in terms of wanting to do certain things and wanting to like push myself in more stuff. So I am trying to keep the status for as long as possible. But I also, as a new player, I realized that it's kind of silly in a way because I want to be able to experience trial and error and learn things and stuff like that. So I'm cruising with it as long as I can, and whenever I lose my status, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep going. But it is definitely making me a bit cautious,
Sure.
more than I would like, maybe.
Because a lot of established hardcores also have a main, and when we release new content, they'll get good at they'll perfect it on their main account, and then they'll jump onto the hardcore once they're confident. But
Yeah.
obviously, you don't have that luxury. It's just going to be a case of, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Yeah, I was very like concerned. Like, man, I think it's only gonna be interesting if I'm hardcore, because that's like, oh, you know, you've never died. But I think after I did the whole fire cave stuff and all the fight caves, I
Yeah.
realized like, damn, it's really fun to learn and
Mhm.
trial and error and figure out mechanics and stuff and learn as you go. And that made me realize a bit that you don't have to be hardcore. It's a cool status to have, but you shouldn't let it dictate how you play.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's a really good outlook that you have on that as well, especially because, you know, I think there is a point that will come, and hopefully not. I'm not saying that it will 100% happen, but I think that it is quite common or quite expected, sorry, that you will eventually perish at some point, right? I mean, that's the whole point of hardcore, is that the longer you don't perish, the more flex that you have. But going in mostly unguided, I do think it's inevitable, but I'm happy to hear that your outlook on it is, I'm just going to carry on, because it would be a massive shame for you to feel like it's you know, part of that identity of your character and its progression now.
Yeah, I mean, how I look at it is like, you could, for me, I'm playing this game for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And I can only do that once. So I don't want to really like tarnish my experience and like not do some content because, oh, what if I lose my status? You know, because yeah, it's cool having the status and it's awesome and stuff like that, but it's I'm playing this game for the first time, so I would rather just try to enjoy the content for what it is, right? So in a way, I'm looking forward to losing the status because I'm like, damn, finally.
You can go into the wilderness to do those clues now.
I could do that.
Yeah,
I could
true.
do that, but I'm gonna go as far as I can, and whenever it happens, right?
I donated money, didn't I, to charity for you to lose your hardcore
You
status.
sure did. Yeah. That was that
Well
was
done.
honestly the most relieving moment of my character's kind of like journey, because I was the worst example of a hardcore. I avoided pretty much all hard content. Apart from random things that I decided to do, which were stupid. Like I went into the wilderness live on stream to do a clue, and it was like at the Anakal area, you know, like deep wilderness. I then also went into Galvek. I practiced once on my main, died on my main, and was like, you know what, I can't be bothered to practice again, so I'm just going to go in. And I had like not good stats for it, but you know, managed it. And then after that, I was like, oh, now I'm terrified. My heart was racing so hard. I thought I was going to die in real life as well. So I was like, right, I'm not going to do anything anymore. So I stuck at Barrows for 1,000 chests. And
Okay.
quite frankly, I had a miserable experience. My grind to 70 prayer, miserable as a result of that. Thankfully, there's a lot of different changes in now in terms of content for you to get, you know, stats up and stuff so you can avoid it. But the day that Modsween donated that £100 to charity and asked me to die in Bounty Hunter was a blessing in disguise, because literally 2 minutes after that happened, we went straight into raids.
Yep.
And I think we did like 3 weeks of straight raid sessions.
Unlocked fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
So,
You can finally play the game.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. So about content creation, right? I'm interested to know if there's anything that you've had to perhaps unlearn in regards to how you'd approach, you know, streaming or video making for World of Warcraft when it came into old school, or has it been able to been almost like a similar, you know, science behind it, a formula that you've
Imagine
been
the
able
time
to apply?
between
Well, I think
progress.
for me, like I played a lot of classic WoW, which is a very slow game as well. For me, it's like I enjoyed the leveling experience, going through the whole journey, and then like I would like to level. I farm my pre-biz gear for my raid, and I do my raid, and then after I do that, I kind of fizzle out a bit, and I make a new character, and I do it like such, right? So for me, it was kind of it felt like natural in a way to go into RuneScape, because it's very similar. I have a main character. I can delve upon these like quest lines and stories, and I can level up, and I can do little mini journeys. How I try to approach it is that I go live. I'm like, okay, today I want to work on this quest chain. I want to try to make some progress for my skilling, so that I can go into Mauritania and I can work on my pirates, storyline. And I try to focus on one little bite of content at a time, and then make a little journey out of that with my character, and then take it one thing at a time. Because I think the biggest thing with RuneScape is you can be very overwhelmed, because it's okay to do this thing, I gotta do that thing, and that thing requires this thing, and then you end up doing a whole other thing, right? I think that's the beauty of the game. It's also confusing, so as a new player and as a content creator, I try to just focus on one thing at a time. Even though that might not be the most efficient, I think it's more fun.
Cool. I like that. I
And
think
it
it's
keeps
important.
you playing longer, so
Yeah.
it probably is more efficient in the long run, because otherwise you'd burn out and stop playing. You probably
Yeah.
won't accomplish as much as you would otherwise. I'd like to ask, how did you get into content creation more generally?
That's a while ago now. I started streaming back in 2000. 18, I believe.
Okay.
7 years ago as of right now. And I was a bit of a bad boy. I played private servers in World of
Ooh,
Warcraft.
okay.
Yeah, and I started my I did. I played on a server called Kronos 2.
Oh, I know.
And it was a private server, obviously, back then. And I just loved Classic WoW. And I figured, you know what? I'm just going to stream my leveling. Maybe someone will hang out with me while I do it. And it was like a hobby. I just came home from work at 4 p.m. and I would just stream in the evening and then have fun with it. And eventually, it was before Classic was announced.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
level
eventually,
86
Classic got
agility.
announced. And I was like, what? That's crazy.
Ah,
So I
only
stopped streaming
13
private
more.
servers because
Arc
obviously you
Fire,
can't do
wall
that.
jump. No idea
And
what.
I went in on World of Warcraft, and eventually I got lucky enough to get into the beta for WoW Classic, and it just kind of slowly became bigger and bigger, and that's how it started. But it was pretty much just my love for Classic WoW. I loved it. I streamed, I had fun with it. I didn't make videos back then. I just liked hanging out with my community that I slowly was building, and yeah, it's just a love for MMOs and the old school games.
Were there any big breakout moments, or was it a case of really steady, gradual growth over time?
A bit of a mix of both. I think I've always, like, since I started streaming, for my first 3 years I didn't have a single day off.
Wow.
For 3 years, 3 years. I maybe had a few days where I was sick and stuff like that. But I would stream every day, like 5-6 hours, whatever.
Sure.
But as I said, I got lucky enough to get into the classic beta.
Yeah.
And that was a big growth spurt because there was very few people that got in. So I was one of the few classic streamers that could stream the beta for that game. And that was awesome. I did some tournaments and that was really sick. And then eventually Classic launched. That was really cool. That was awesome. And my channel did okay. But my biggest breakout for me was Hardcore WoW, when I started doing Hardcore Classic. And I had one life on my character. So I would play normal WoW and I would have one life. And if I died, the character's gone, deleted. And there was like a self-made challenge, somewhat similar to like a lot of the RuneScape content creators that does different extreme challenges. It's nothing that's in the game, but it's something that you put upon yourself. So that was a big breakout for me, Hardcore for sure.
This was before official Hardcore
Yes.
was released through the add-on that was made.
We were using an add-on that was made. There was a guy called Kargas, who was a WoW content creator, who made an add-on with a bunch of other people, and it got really popular. And that was a big breaking point for me because I liked the journey of the game and I liked the stress of Hardcore as well. So that was like a mixture of me that was perfect.
Have you been inclined to? Have you seen any challenges that the RuneScape creators are playing on themselves? You're thinking, I want to do that too.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
They're you guys are a bit crazy, okay? I'm gonna lie. These RuneScape content creators are insane, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Sure.
They are insanely amazing. Like, we have Rendy doing the most crazy hardcore challenges with like 3 combat level Jad and all those perilous moons that he's doing. We have Swamp Lytics from Settled doing the one chunk, the nightmare mode, all that stuff. We have, I mean, I can keep naming them, right? There's so much cool stuff, and I don't want to do any of it because it's insane. But I love that people can come up with their own challenges because it's a sandbox.
Yeah.
And you make your own journey. And sometimes when we talk about it with my stream, people are like, man, why would you do that? That's not fun. That's not, that's silly. And then, yeah, it's a silly thing, but it's fun making a challenge for yourself. And it's fun doing something to limit yourself in a way and to try to come up with cool ideas and stuff. I think for me, I like the hardcore stuff, and I like Iron Man because I like the feeling of being self-sufficient. I think that's cool.
It's achievement, isn't it? Setting your own goals. And like these guys doing the really crazy stuff. They're setting a goal and they're trying to work out how to accomplish it. And that's the fun aspect. You can get lost in the weeds of efficiency. You can get lost in the weeds of what's optimal, or you can just go, I'm going to have fun and make some really cool content.
Obviously, it's a big of a content thing, but I think also just for normal players, it's like efficiency very often kills the joy of gaming because you always get caught up in, I could do this better. I shouldn't do this because I could just farm this first and it would be faster. It's very easy to be caught up in the web of efficiency.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it earlier, but sometimes the most efficient way to play is just by playing the way you want to, because you'll play for longer.
Yeah.
Because you won't get burnt out. And I am so guilty of it. I spoke about this in the previous podcast as well, but like I will go through phases of just being, trying to be the most efficient in games that I play. I'll research what like the best build is. I remember I jumped into like Elden Ring Night Rain. I was like, okay, what is the best relic setup? And I was like grinding through to buy random relics to get it before I even started playing the character properly. I'm like, why am I doing this? So I stopped doing it and I jumped in and just had fun. And it was like, actually, the game's way more enjoyable now. But yeah, I still have bad tendencies, especially when it comes to Path of Exile. That's my crux for efficiency. I'm not good enough to figure out how to play that myself.
It's just one of those games that looks overwhelming to me. I don't play it. I've
Yeah.
tried playing PoE 1 once and didn't know what to do. And I see you and I see Goblin and I see other people play. And I watched your stream recently, the one we did with like Annie and stuff. And I was just lost.
Yeah, it's one of those games. Like, imagine you came into old school today after 12 years of development. There's 12 years of features that have been put into there that you need to understand. And I just spent 1,500 hours to try and figure out it, and I still don't know it. So, yeah. You mentioned, about your chat viewership, and obviously the fact that you're going in partially unguided. Now, we've all pretty much frequented your stream quite a while.
Yeah.
I see what the chat's like, but I'm keen to understand, like, what is your feeling around the nature of people backseating?
I would like to believe that it comes from a good place in people, that like they're watching someone play the game for the first time. I'm playing a game that they obviously really love. It might be their favorite game. It might be something that's very close to them. So they want me to experience the game in the best possible way. But a lot of the times, the best possible way is just to figure it out as you go, not to really go the most efficient way, right? I don't really mind it because I believe it comes from a good place. Some people are obviously trying to spoil and trying to, make sure you are aware of certain things to ruin it for you. But I think most people just want you to enjoy the game, and they want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. But the problem is that there's no right way. Just play however you think is fun and go about it. It can be frustrating sometimes when you're streaming and you have a lot of people, hundreds or maybe thousands of people being in talking to you like, okay, go do this and then go do that. No, you need to do this. No, you need to do that. You just gotta kind of do what you enjoy, have fun with it, and then if you have any questions, the community is more than happy to tell you what to do.
Yeah, they are. As soon as you open that door,
it's a slippery slope, right? And that's why I say like I'm partially unguided, because I do have my chat to help me, and they guide me towards like, okay, guys, what should I do next? What would be a good goal? Oh, Dragon Slayer 1. Work towards that. And I'm like, okay, let me look at the requirements. Let me figure it out. Oh, guys, we gotta do this quest. Okay, it's over here. Let's figure it out. But it can definitely become like a very frustrating when you're live and you're trying to do a puzzle, and then you have a lot of people trying to spoil it, and some people are trying to like, it's super fun streaming it. It's so fun, but it can also be very frustrating.
I kind of love your community that you've built up around the fact of like no spoilers, so to speak, because whenever I see someone, it's like the chat gets filled with a boba. It's kind of like those that are against spoilering, like kind of start
like a war.
friendly bullying those who are trying to spoil. And I love that you have that, because sometimes like that doesn't happen. People will just be like completely against it and trying to ruin that experience as well. And I remember fondly of you were doing Monkey Madness, and it was trying to figure out what to do with the child monkey, and people were putting emote only, and it's like the monkey, banana, and then a lady, and it's like, oh wait, what does this mean? It's like you're doing your own puzzles with chat.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, so like whenever I do big quests like Monkey Madness or Dragon Slayer or Morning's End, all those things, I usually try to I close my YouTube chat and I put my Twitch chat in emote only, and it's funny because it is a little bit of a puzzle with chat, because like I can kind of say something, I'm like, oh guys, I'm gonna go over here, and then they all start being sad, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not maybe we shouldn't go over here, and I'm like, oh, maybe we gotta go over here to this house, and they're like very happy, like smiley face, yes, a good house. So it's like I'm not fully blind, I get guided towards the direction that's
my
correct.
100th lap
But
today.
it's up to me to find the correct way, right?
I don't know how much agility
but
I've
it's super
done.
fun. I love it. I have had such a blast, like going through these quests, and there's so many more to come as well.
Even with the shades?
Yeah, more. You're talking about Morning's End, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It was fantastic. Listen, that quest was it was a quest.
It's something, right?
No, I like looking back at it. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it when it was done.
Yeah.
It was a 12-hour quest. And I believe 8 of those 12 hours was just a light puzzle.
Yeah, being beat on by shades the whole time.
Yeah, that was great.
The bank, get food.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say there have been 2 times I've been watching you, and I thought, oh no, we're gonna lose him. As in, like we're gonna lose you. We're gonna lose you playing the game.
No,
that was that, and then that Zombie Act grind too. Those 2 things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Zombie Axe was rough. I went 2,400 kills on Zombie Axe, and I did 1,800 of those melee.
Yeah, I was
with
gonna
a-
say you weren't barraging, were you?
No, because I didn't have freaking runes, and I
Yeah.
don't want to go to Barrows because I want to farm this thing. Because I'm very one-track mind. Okay,
Yeah.
I see
You
the
said
zombie
you set a
axe.
goal, right? And you're gonna go for it.
I
and
want to
that's
get
it.
that axe
Yeah.
now. So I decided not to farm any more Barrows, and I just grinded with my dragon scimitar on zombies for a whole day, one and a half days.
I guess it's like an extension, just AFK and crab, right? But you've got a goal behind it, so you were getting some XP at the same time.
Yeah, but in a way it's fun because I'm streaming it, right? So I can talk to my community. We talk about all kinds of different things and joke around and stuff like that. So it becomes a little bit of like a just chatting kind of game,
Yeah.
you know? That's like I thought WoW was just chatting, but then I realized that RuneScape is a whole different level, right? But that's good because there's things that are engaging and then there's things that are AFK, so you can swap it up.
Yeah, you can choose your moments.
Yeah, it's
right?
good. It's fun.
You also do some variety content too on other days.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and you don't have to, if you'd rather not answer, absolutely fine. When as a streamer, do you have to consider like the commercial, like I guess the appeal of what the games you're playing? Like, oh no, if I play this, I might not get enough viewers, and then it's not a viable game to play like financially.
No, I mean, of course, it's definitely something that you got to keep in mind as a streamer, right? Because ultimately, you want to play what. First of all, you want to play what you think is fun, and you want to play what your stream think is fun, right? And sometimes those two don't coexist.
Sure.
But I'm quite lucky in the fact that like I've built up a community that kind of enjoys the games I like as well. I like the older games. I enjoy like I played through Fable 1. I'm gonna do some Zelda Ocarina of Time, stuff like that, like old school games that I never really got to play through. And obviously some of the games don't do as well viewer wise or money wise. But I think it's also fun just having like a good time with the community. Not everything has to be about maximizing the views, right? Always. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so you mix it up a bit, and the best possible thing you can do is find a good middle ground where you like it and your community likes it, right?
Yeah, I suppose it's almost like a way of acquiring some more work-life balance because your work is playing games. You probably all your life want to be playing games, and that's the kind of way of achieving that little bit equilibrium.
I've done it because I really love RuneScape. It's so fun. I played for the majority of my time at the moment, but I'm just swapping it up from time to time because a lot of my core community obviously came from WoW, and they're like, "What the heck? This guy's just doing RuneScape now. Like, what is he doing?" So I just swap it up a little bit from time to time, have a good time with it, and just gives me an excuse to crap as well on the side if I want to do that.
Nice.
I love seeing the little crab windows and never people stream.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny.
You can go through and just like they've got the plugin that's been left on, and you can check their gear and like, oh, they're still at the crab.
Yeah.
Well, did I hear you right in saying I'm going to be that one guy right now? You've never played Ocarina of Time?
So I played as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I played as a kid, but I was very young. Okay, I was like 8 years old, and I got out to Hyrule Field, and then there's like a graveyard.
Yep.
After that, and it was really scary, so I couldn't continue.
Oh my! I am so jealous.
Nice.
I would love to be able to go back into that. And
I played WoW,
experience
man.
it.
Okay, I just played WoW. That's it.
Yeah, me too. But like, still,
Yeah.
I'm just saying it out of envy. I would love to go through that experience, and I cannot wait. Hopefully, that's something that you're going to be doing on stream as well.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean I just want to continue having fun with it, right? I love RuneScape, and people are always like, "Oh, are you gonna quit? Like when you die on your hardcore, if you die, are you gonna quit? Is it over?" Like initially, I was gonna play for a week.
Yeah.
That was it. I was going to play for a week and then do like hey guys, I played RuneScape for a week. This was my experience, as a WoW player, make a video about it, talk about it, and then move on.
Yeah.
But
now you're one of us.
yeah, I guess I didn't expect it, but I just got very hooked on it, and I enjoyed it. And it was a mixture of me really liking it and having such a good reception from people enjoying my approach to things and how I try to stream and how I try to just hang out with people.
I think it's shown people you can enjoy more than one thing at a time. You can like RuneScape and you can like World of Warcraft and you can like playing other games too. Variety is awesome. Like, do more of that.
It is.
Don't always limit yourself.
I actually think it's really important to experience other games because it helps you appreciate the parts of games that you really like and those that you don't. And if you've only ever played one game, then I mean, I think you're just doing yourself a disservice. You will hear me constantly talk about different
1000%.
games that I play, and I will switch between being completely obsessed with one game for a few months and then jump back into another game. But I'll always have the core cycle of things that I'm playing, and that is typically for me Path of Exile, World of Warcraft, and old school RuneScape. They all share very similarities between them. But I love jumping out and going into single player games, getting that role playing experience, and it is so rewarding. So yeah, as Sween said, you can enjoy more than one thing at once. It's okay to not play RuneScape all the time if you want to try something out, because you might find that actually you find a new appreciation for RuneScape when you come back to it as well that you never had before.
Very true. Burnout is a real thing, and I feel like a lot of people reach a point with MMOs very like in particular, where they end up just playing it to play it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really become like a thing where like, oh, I'm gonna log in, I'm gonna do all these cool things, I'm gonna raid, I'm gonna skill, I'm gonna do all that stuff. It just becomes, oh, I log in just to log in, right? And I feel like when it reaches that point, I think it's healthy to just maybe take a break, maybe play a little bit of a different things, and then come back and like, man, okay, now I'm like ready to go again, right? It's everything in moderation, obviously, but I say this as a person that's been playing 8 hours per day for the past 72 days. But it's healthy to do, for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the problems with MMOs generally is that because they require so much of a time investment, it gets to a point where you feel like if you're no longer continuing to invest that time, you look back on the time that you have spent and it's almost like quote unquote wasted. And that's because, at least for the people that I've spoke to and had experiences with, is that they forget the fun and joy of the journey that they had getting to that point. So like your time investment wasn't a waste of time. You were having fun. You were enjoying the experience for what it was. But as Guzu mentioned, like if it gets to the point where you're no longer having fun, you're logging in for the sake of it, like maybe it is time to just try something else.
I think just have fun when you're playing and just like enjoy yourself, right? A lot of people are very obsessed with like, oh, I gotta finish this to get to the new thing, thing, right? And they kind of forget to just enjoy what they're doing right now. I mean, for me, I freaking love farming gear, man. It's so fun, dude. I obviously I want the gear so I can like do more stuff, but like getting that drop and then it's so good, man. I love it. That's probably my favorite thing.
Even if it's only a slight power increase. And I know that you're getting that because World of Warcraft is so centralized around gear progression. You know, like a lot of your character journey as you're doing a dungeon, the first blue drop that you get, you feel that instantly. You probably felt it the time that you got the what you call them, the maracas, the
bobbers, man. Yeah, the bobbers.
Yeah,
they're good.
You feel it, right? And it feels good. It's rewarding. Like you have
So
that,
good.
and achieve that. It's so nice.
Yeah, you get the bobbers and you can bop on the blue one, the blue moon. It's so good.
That's why I really appreciated the kind of perspective that you and the other guys have given, because seeing you equip the gear and you're zooming in and you're admiring the fashion scape, like, yes, this is what I look like, and like people like Showbeck do the same thing too.
It's
so fun to watch the reaction.
Visual progression and seeing the difference in what you're doing, right? Like, oh, now I got the Berserker ring. Oh, now I'm doing more damage. Now I got the Black Mask. Oh, I can imbue it, right? All those things is cool. And what I really like about RuneScape is I don't feel like I have to catch up. I feel like I'm starting almost 3 decades later, 2 decades later, right? And I'm just enjoying myself. I'm just having fun. I'm not worried about what other people are doing. I'm on my own little journey, and no matter how long break of I take, if I were to take a break, I could still log in and then just continue where I left off. And it feels great not having that, oh man, I just farmed all these things, and then if I take a break now, then they probably won't be as impactful later on. I really enjoy that, and I think that's why a lot of people are getting why there's getting a lot of new eyes on OSRS, because it's really cool being able to invest some time into a game and be like, damn, this matters. It's cool, for your character, because MMOs are an investment.
Definitely. We're really appreciative of the fact that creators like yourself and then your communities who are giving it a go-to are giving us the time, because there are so many other games out there.
Yeah.
And for us, we've seen it, like, we know we had a good game. We've been working on it. We're aware that it's good. And it's nice that, not in an arrogant way.
No, that's fair.
But it's just nice that people look beyond maybe the graphics, or look beyond their first impressions or their expectations rather, and giving it a go. And then some people don't like it and they've kind of said, all right, I'll give it a go. And others have stuck with it and they kind of found the same joy we find in it too. And it's just been really nice to see that and experience it, to watch it, to read it. It's just been well heartwarming.
I think for me personally, outside of that, it's like the best part is being able to relive that joy and wonder of experiencing Gillinor for the first time through someone else, because it's very rare that we get to see that. With an older game that for most people will claim that it's based around nostalgia. I think clearly player numbers these days show that it's actually that we have more new people that are coming into the game, but they're not all streaming, they're not all making videos. And there's resurgence and yourself coming across. Just honestly, most of the office sat there watching through, being able to just be like, I want to be able to capture that again. And it has been so lovely because the game has got so much to it, I think. And it does get overlooked at times. And it's just been really lovely to see it be brought back to the spotlight.
Yeah, I think for me, like I always said, It's like, man, I wish I could do World of Warcraft Classic for the first time.
Yeah.
Like run into Orgrimmar, hear the drums, and like run into the crossroads and see Baron's chat and where's Mankrik's wife and all those WoW memes, right? I wish I could experience that for the first time, and that's kind of what I'm going through now with RuneScape. I'm experiencing all these like this new music and this new zones and all the dialogue and the quests and the drops, and I'm slowly unveiling a whole new world that I've never really seen before. And I think that's very rare that you can do that and you can share that with a big community, which is why I like to believe that people enjoy it, right? And I know for myself as well, I'm like, okay, I just farmed my zombie axe, right? Man, I want to see how the other guys reacted to their zombie axe. I want to see if they went as dry as I did. Or like, ooh, I got my black mask at 33 kill count. Ooh, how far did they get it, right? Or how did they react to Elvark in Dragon Slayer 1 or all those things? Like I kind of also go back and I look at the other streamers. I'm like, damn, dude, this is pretty cool, right? Seeing that excitement is
awesome.
sick, and I think it's cool being able to share that with a bunch of people watching.
How much do you speak to the others that you've played, World of Warcraft with, came across the old school? Do you have like a little secret Discord server you're all chatting in, sharing clips and drops and your logs and stuff? Or
I mean, the WoW creators do talk to each other. I think some people talk more to each other than others.
Okay.
We do like, we're all kind of like, you kind of all know each other, right?
Yeah.
Like here and there, like so like yeah, we share like some thoughts and some drops. Like whenever I remember I was driving home for a while. I was like on a big road trip home, like 20-hour drive. And then like halfway through, I went on a hotel and I was like, man, I need to go sleep. I've been driving for 10 hours, man. And I opened my Discord and I see Shubik DMing me that he got Zombie Axe like 300 kill count. And I'm like, you little bitch. So it's funny. It's like a little banter and it's like people are just like following along with each other and like people are reaching out like, hey, do you want to do Royal Titans together and stuff like that. So it's cool being able to share that excitement with someone. And there's also been a lot of people from the old school RuneScape content creator scene that's been very engaging with us, talking to us. Like I've talked to a lot to a guy called Fox, good old Fox. I like him a lot.
Yeah. He's gonna appreciate that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, Fox is awesome. That's good. And Mots and a bunch of other people that we just talk to them and we hang out, and it's just a good experience. I think like friendly banter, right?
I think it's lovely to see, at least from our perspective, how welcoming everyone has been. Obviously, there are bad actors in every community, and there will be people that are going to try and tarnish that experience. But I guess generally speaking, as a whole, how have you found coming into the community?
I think it's been extremely welcoming. Old school RuneScape community is very passionate. Is what I would use the word maybe. They really want you to enjoy the game, right? So I would say it's been 99% positive. People have been so welcoming. People leave so many nice comments on YouTube and I've even seen some Reddit posts whenever I've done something. I did the fire cape and I got my fire cape and they were like, man, like, this was so wholesome. Like, I wish I could do that again. It was fun following along with the journey. And it makes me feel good that like, there's some positivity and people are vibing, because I feel like a lot of stuff these days are very negative focused and it's a lot of like negativity everywhere. So it's just cool seeing some people vibing and celebrating a cool game and having fun together.
I'd like to ask, it might be too soon, maybe you haven't experienced enough old school yet to answer. If you're here at Jagex right now, if we were to say, okay, after the podcast, go upstairs, sit with Mod Ash, and he'll say, all right, tell me what you want to add to the game, I'll do it right for you right now. What would you ask for if we gave you the keys to the game?
That is extremely difficult to answer.
Change agility.
It's hard.
Change agility.
It's a slippery slope with adding things, right? Because I think what makes old school RuneScape so unique is that it's pristine in a way. That it stayed true to what it is. Even when there's new content, it still kind of fits the same vibe. I will say I hate the clan UI.
Okay.
So I would probably fix that, because that is really annoying. I do not like that UI. So maybe that's something I would change. But I've been enjoying it, man. I think it's been a good process with the whole game. It's an extremely overwhelming game as a new player. And I think the barrier for entry is quite hard if you are not streaming. Because obviously I'm streaming, I can get so much help from everybody. I have so many knowledgeable people in chat that can just guide me if I need help. But a lot of people don't have that. And I think the new play experience can be really daunting. I'm not sure how you would really work on that. I think the activity advisor is great. But maybe I would change that a little bit. Like maybe figure out a way to make that guide people a bit more in a direction not put them on a railroad and be like, oh, now you got to do this and that and this, but
Sure.
like give people options. Because I think the activity advisor for me as a new player was what really made me actually delve out and go to content. And eventually I stopped using it. But I think the game is good, and I'm a bit of a too new of a player to really have a lot of big opinions
Sure.
about a lot of changes and
Okay.
stuff. But I hate the clan UI.
Okay.
I do not like it.
Noted. We'll make a note.
respectable
And
answer.
we'll ask you again in a year or so. When we
Okay.
Yeah,
experience behind
it's been updated.
Yeah.
So in terms of like adding content, right? One of the things if you were given the key, that's obviously a big if.
Yeah.
Old School relies on the community voting on content. How do you feel about that? The polling system.
I think it's great. I think it's a really good way of going about it. I think it's very difficult though, because obviously I'm not a developer. I don't make games. I'm a consumer. I think listening to community feedback is extremely important, but it's also something you got to take with a bit of grain of salt, right? Because not always the players knows what they want, because each person has their own like reasons for wanting stuff changed, right? Maybe some people is playing a main and they want a certain change, but that will affect the Iron Man players negatively. So it's a slippery slope with adding things. But I think the way that the polling system is built up is great, because it shows that there's a lot of communication from the JMods to the community, and I think that's what people really appreciate about it. The fact that like we matter, right?
Yeah.
Players matter, and I think that's important, because it can. Whenever companies get very big and games grow in size, the distance between the players and the developers tend to grow a lot. Like the distance is larger, and it loses a bit of the connection. So I think the polling system is a great way of keeping that connection and really understanding what people like.
It's a really valid point, and particularly around like when a company grows. Sometimes it's not because of like malicious reasons.
Yeah.
So when I joined the Old School team, I was the 18th person, and we had the weekly Q&A live streams, and it was a pretty fixed roster of people who'd go on, and I felt the players knew who was working on anything at any one time. But as the team grows bigger and bigger, and we're working on more projects, quests, skills, whatever at the same time like we are now, I think it becomes harder to have that really one-to-one connection with players, because there would be so many, and you can't get, we can't have all, I don't know how many JMOs are now in the Old School team.
I couldn't tell you, and I see them at the
Let's say
bottom
like
of the news posts
80
every
or something
week,
like
so
that.
yeah.
We can't have all 80 on like a podcast right now, or like on one single live stream. So it becomes harder to have that same connection, and we have to try and find alternative ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a thing that comes with growth, I think, and it's something you got to deal with in a certain way. But I think the Old School team, you guys have done a great job at actually managing to still listen to people and listen to feedback, because I think as players and as consumers of a product, people love and really appreciate honesty. And hey guys, we're aware of this, we messed up, or we just being honest about things and being able to be upfront is really good, because you don't want to lose the trust of the players, because the players is what keeps the game alive, right?
Yeah, it's so true. I think we try our best to maintain that as well. So I'm glad that it's kind of like coming through and noticeable.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you to be
120 laps
exactly. So I was
today.
just curious
It's
because
getting
some
there. It's
genuinely
getting done.
like have they feel like the poll system can be quite restrictive in the sense of they want content to come out and it to be exciting. And I've watched you read through blogs, for example, and figure out what's coming out for an update. I saw you go over the sailing video and all that kind of stuff. So I was curious if you had that kind of view, or if you were more of the, actually, this is really nice to just see that interaction happens.
No, I quite like it. I think it's good. Obviously, everything has its drawbacks. You can't get a perfect system. The best thing you can really do is get a good in between, right? And I think you guys have managed to, over the years, to build up a quite nice system that obviously works, because people enjoy the content. Not everything is a hit. Not everything is the best content ever, but that's just really how it goes. But I think as long as listening to the community and just keeping it as it is, and like making sure that people's voices are heard, I think that's important.
Well, if there's anyone from Jagex watching, you heard it here from Guzu, like keeping in touch with the community is important. We've got to focus on that. So we'll carry on growing the community team. Thanks.
Yeah.
You mentioned like the whole, hey guys, sorry we messed up. I thought we've said that. We've had to say some variation of that a lot of times over the years. So
Yeah.
we're not perfect.
I mean,
we've had to apologize quite often.
There's been some bad shit that's happened at times,
Yeah.
and sometimes we've not even been very good at apologizing for
True.
it. But we do try at least to learn from those mistakes and do better the next time round.
I mean, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? Everybody might not be every single piece of content or every single piece of update that's great or people appreciate, right? And maybe there's sometimes something that's not really that good, but just being honest, I think people appreciate, right? And then try to work on it. I think that's important as a very community based game, which old school RuneScape is, at least from what I can see.
Okay, community events. We've done a few ourselves. What if you had the power to do a community event in game, out of game? Maybe did you catch any of the OTK event, for example?
Yeah,
If you had the ability to, would you want to do something like that? If so, what would it be?
that's a very big question. I think community events are great. I think they're awesome because being able to bring a lot of people together from all sorts of different personalities is awesome, and especially if it can be like an IRL event where you can have some interactions with them and some stuff like that. And what I would like to do, that's very hard to answer. I think the OTK event was really great. It was very hectic, we'll say.
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah, it was chaotic, man.
It was very hectic, but we had the whole soda block thing with that going on and everything like that. But I think the way that Gilnor Games is structured is really well made. I think those challenges and all those different things they're doing, like, is so sick. And I think if you could somehow manage to figure out a way to make that into an event live, that would be pretty crazy. It's a very hard thing to do production wise, but I think it's possible because there's so many good challenges you can do in RuneScape.
So would you be thinking of like transitioning RuneScape challenges into real life challenges?
Yeah, I mean, you could do like a mixture of them, right?
Yeah.
You could do something similar to the OTK event
Real
where they
life.
did like a bunch of RuneScape stuff and then they mixed in some IRL. I think the focus should primarily be RuneScape
Yeah,
because
okay.
I think it's a gaming event and I think that's the most exciting. Obviously, mixing in some IRL could be good, but honestly, just if I could make an event, I guess, shout out to Soup, obviously. If he could make an IRL Gilnor Games like a LAN, that would be crazy.
All right, I think we probably have to, if we want to publish this, we probably have to follow up with Sue and be like, okay, dude, let's make it happen.
Can make it happen.
Yeah, live Gilnor Games. That would be crazy.
I'm imagining like I don't know why.
That would be so hard though with all the POVs.
Yeah,
because there's so many people playing, right?
There's so many thoughts going through my head now of like, right, we've got to teach people how to cut down trees safely. What if someone like wants to smith like a bronze dagger, an iron dagger? They've got to learn how to be a blacksmith.
You know what? Never mind. It's a bad idea.
It's the complete opposite as well. I was like, but then in my head I was like, what if it's like Takeshi's Castle?
Okay.
You ever watch that show? It's like,
Oh yeah, the game show. It's so good.
Through. And I would love to see that.
Well, I'd love to see the elimination and the voting, and like you see how much, see how dramatic Gilnor Games gets. How like
would they be as dramatic in real life?
That would be okay. That would be extremely difficult production wise. I think getting all the POVs correct would maybe be hard. You know what? That's just like a fantasy. Okay.
Yeah, we can have pipe dreams.
We can do that.
Just a pipe dream. It is what it is.
Man, get the marketing
I
budget.
mean, I can also lock eyes at our production team who are sitting in the same room and like
they all look so terrible.
Make this happen.
Just
guys.
make it.
Turned away.
Just make it. It's fine.
Oh, brilliant.
All right,
No, but
sweet.
there's a lot of cool things I think you can do with the game, and I think that's what's beautiful about it, because there's so many different like challenges that you can make for yourself, like the bingo stuff as well. That's coming out as well soon, right? That's sick too.
Yeah, actually, about that, is it something that you think you'll try out?
I might. I have absolutely no idea what I would do because I don't really know what I'm doing half the time in the game, but I think it's sick. I think it's awesome. Like stuff like that is super duper cool that you can do an event like that.
I mean, the good news is with things like leagues and then Gridmaster, which is this bingo thing, is that it's not quite as open. You have a list of tasks, you have a list of tiles to complete for bingo, so it is almost like you won't be as lost. But then there's obviously drawbacks too. I've seen a ton of this discussion around like some of the benefits of old school are permanent progression, that kind of thing, and then we point to like, hey, here's a seasonal game mode, or here's like a short form event. So we juggle the benefits and negatives of both.
I think it's good to do seasonal things from time to time as long as it doesn't take away from the main game. As long as you keep that in mind that like, oh, okay, this is a thing we're doing for fun. Maybe you can get some sort of cosmetic rewards, but then it's also like, okay, you don't want to have people have FOMO with that, oh, now I have to do this to get these cosmetics. So you want to try to balance those things as well, right? Make sure that people can do it at their own pace, because I feel like that's what OSRS is very much about. Like you shouldn't feel like you have to do this to get these things, right? But I like the idea behind like the leagues and the small little events, because it's, again, community based. It's cool.
Yeah, obviously something a bit different.
Yeah, and with like the whole cosmetics and locked out stuff, like we get it. Everyone that works at Jagex is a gamer. Everyone that works in the old school team pretty much plays old school as well, and we know what we do and don't like in other games. And these cosmetics that come out in these game modes is like, okay, yeah, you might only be able to get the points from the game mode, but if you don't want to do the game mode, you can just buy them from someone else.
Yeah.
And if you're an Iron Man and you miss leagues, well, join the next leagues. You'll be able to buy all of the other cosmetics from before. Holiday events, you'll get them all from previous events as well, because it is just like, it is about that. It's like having the opportunity to get it if you want it. And if you don't feel like you're missing out.
Yeah, and I think that's good. That's very big strong point for RuneScape. The fact that you don't have to do things if you don't want to, and you don't. Oh, now I have to play these next 2 weeks because if I don't do it, I won't ever get this item. Right? That's a really bad thing. I think.
So I'm not too familiar with World of Warcraft. My experiences are trying to play it on a really, really bad laptop, and then it would melt after 30 minutes, and I'd have to wait till it cooled down, and I can play it again for another 30 minutes. So I didn't get far.
Classic with me for about 5 minutes, and you're like, I can't do the buttons, I'm leaving.
Yes, we also did that too. Yeah. I couldn't play it. I was not very good. So this question might not make sense, in which case we'll move on, and you ask a question. Is there anything from World of Warcraft, World Classic, that you would bring? It could be like content like for like, or it could be just element of like design philosophy that you could bring over to old school that you think old school's missing, but Blizzard and WoW do really well.
An action bar. I'm joking.
That's very hard to answer. That is extremely difficult because I feel like a lot of the things that there are in World of Warcraft you have in RuneScape, but in a different format, right?
Sure, okay.
Because the games aren't necessarily the same, but they run in the same kind of fashion with like they're both MMOs. You have raiding, you have PvP content, you have dungeons, you have all those different kind of things. And what makes them good is that they're different, I think, in many ways. But I don't know. The first thing that came to mind when I was thinking is some sort of battleground. But there are obviously LMS, which people like, but there's also a lot of issues with that.
Yeah.
There's the Emir's Arena, which is very interesting too. I did that a little bit. It was actually quite fun because I got some actual battles in, and I actually won a few games.
Nice.
I won, yeah, that's pretty good. But it's hard because I feel like a lot of the stuff that WoW offers, RuneScape does have, but in a different way.
Okay.
Right? So because there's raids, there's dungeons, there's the leveling.
So Battlegrounds is like a kind of Q4 PvP system, and you can queue in and you go into it, and that has its own grinds attached, has its own rewards and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Like something like that for sure. Like something where
Goals,
you can, yeah, exactly. Like go in and then do some PvP and stuff. Because I think a lot of
we just riff off like LMS in essence.
Okay. So I'm thinking, yes, you need to do for Battlegrounds, but that's a random PvP minigame. You could be sent to Emir's Arena, you could be sent to Castle Wars, or you could be sent to LMS. It'll send you to any of those 3 games. You don't know which, you just know that you could be sent into a PvP minigame. If you have, I guess the biggest issue at that point though would be equipment, because Castle Wars you need gear, in LMS you don't need gear, and Emir's Arena I don't believe you need gear. I think you just agree on the set and go. So I don't know. I think a PvP queue system would be sick for a random PvP minigame.
That's right. Different versions of that.
Yeah, different versions of that could be kind of interesting because I think a lot of people would enjoy that in a way, because obviously the game is very much focused on PVM, right? Like the raids and the dungeons. That's the big thing. Same thing in WoW.
Yeah.
The PvE is the main focus, but having something like that, I think, would be very interesting for sure.
I have 2 things that I think about somewhat frequently, if you don't mind. I'll add them in.
Sure.
And one of them is actually more dungeons. I think we need more content for like the mid to end game that isn't so solo. And like I don't think we've like essentially what I'm saying is a more entry level raid that is actually entry level. The problem being though is that we know that the cost of developing something like that is actually so high that you'll get to the point of doing the content and then you'll only ever need to do it once because you'll be past the point of caring about it in the future. But I would really love to see there being more reasons for lower level players to come together that isn't the similarities of like, I know that we've got, like the Raw Titans recently and other pieces that have came out, but an actual dungeon like Chambers of Xeric which is obviously a raid but smaller. And then the other one is really controversial, and it would have to be approached with caution. And I don't know whether actually it's that, like, I think that we would want it, like if players would want it or not, but some form of looking for group for raids. Because I think that a lot of people actually struggle to find partners for things like Theatre of Blood, especially the higher level TOAs. And, you know, it's restricted to you have to be on the same world as someone, they have to form a party. Like, no one is using that party board to recruit members into their teams, apart from maybe on the We Do Raids world. So having the ability to be able to just say, I want to queue into a Theatre of Blood, be queued with other people, and then be put in the area. And maybe that's like where you agree on accepting everyone in or not. I don't know. The downfall of that, though, is that I really disliked how much it turned, for example, World of Warcraft into a very much a solo experience. You never have a reason to interact with anyone anymore. But the convenience of it was like so good. Like, I don't struggle with raids because I can just call upon people. You know, I know that you'll want to do a raid at some point, or other people that I've met throughout the community. Not everyone has the ability to do that. Some people aren't the type of people that want to go onto a Discord server, chat to people, to make friends and stuff like
Fair
that.
point. I think to what Guzu said about the clan UI and things like that, I feel like that's something we try and tackle first before we need to resort to.
Yeah. So I'm not saying like,
LFG.
yeah, that's what I said. It's really controversial. I don't think that's the right solution, but some form of system that can help bring people together to go and do a raid.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think a big problem with WoW that a lot of people had was like it became very much like you just queue up and then you get teleported in and then you go through it and then that's it, right? You don't want it to turn into that. So if there were to be a thing like that, I think it's quite important that there will still be some sort of interaction. Okay, you queue up, maybe you get sent into the beginning of the arena and you're like, you can talk and you can see, okay, this is a player. Do we want to go? Let's go. Okay, let's send it, right? Let's go together. So it's definitely something that's possible to have, but it's very difficult to do right because you want to make sure that it still stays within the realms of what RuneScape is about.
Yeah.
And what people view it as the game, right? In terms of like the early game raids and stuff like that, obviously I haven't really done any raiding yet, but I as a new player, I quite appreciate that there are some content in the early game that's new and that's challenging, like Scurious. It's not obviously not a raid, but it's some entry-level PVM where like, okay, you can get a taste of what the game has to offer. It's not really like a thing that you'll farm forever. It'll give you some good combat XP. Maybe you can get the bone and like make some weapons, and then you can farm Scurious more. But it gives you a little bit of an idea of like, okay, what does this game actually have to offer? And I think having like an early mid more raids, or to mid game more like raids could be interesting because I think it shows like, okay, this is what the game is going to turn into, right? This is what you can expect for some PVM encounters. I think that'd be cool. I think early game stuff is fun for sure. But my first big like wow moment with RuneScape was like when I got to Scurious and I saw like, oh my god, I gotta like swap my overheads now. I gotta like, okay, he's eating cheese. I gotta like kill the ants. And it was like, man, that's when I realized, okay, there's actually a lot more to it than just I right click or left click. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you got that experience because that is exactly what the intention of Scurious was to give players at that kind of level a taste for what's to come and start preparing them for also what's to come as well. Yeah. So that you start figuring out gear switches, you start figuring out that NPCs have mechanics, and then from there we've added a few more. And I think like for a while we focused quite heavily on early and mid game, not super early game, but now we're probably at the point where okay, we want to do a little bit more end game stuff, and that's a bit of the focus at the moment.
Because I feel like a lot of people who played RuneScape when they were younger remember killing cows, and that's very much a click and wait, and then people carry that notion into the future, or into now rather. I've always said like old school RuneScape, super low skill floor, click and cow, and then you can go as far. You can probably get a maybe not a quest cape nowadays with some of the like Sins of the Father and stuff like that, but you could get quite far just clicking and waiting. But then also the skill expression, the high score ceiling. I mean, old school is really good for that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different approaches to the game, but definitely giving people the options to experience some of the harder content or more challenging stuff, even in the earlier game, I think it's quite cool because there is not a lot of challenging things before Scurious in a sense of mechanical challenge, right? And I that was definitely a big eye opener for me. Like, damn, there's some interesting stuff in this game that requires a bit more skill than just clicking a cow or just doing Demon Slayer or whatever, right? So that's cool. And definitely if there was those raids and people could have an easier way of playing with each other, that would definitely be awesome. But it's something you gotta be careful about, because when you implement a new thing, it might trivialize other things, or it might be it's hard to add like a big thing like a looking for group without it kind of not ruining but changing how people approach the game.
Hence why I said very clearly that
Yeah,
it's very
it's-
controversial. It's one
Yeah,
of
it
those
definitely
where
is.
I'm not going to be a major proponent for it, but it's something I do think back on quite often, especially because I just see it all the time in the community of people saying like, oh, how do I get into raids? I'd really like to get started. And thankfully, we have quite a lot of people who are out there responding, be like, come jump in with me. I'll show you the ropes. And there are even people who make their content around showing other people how to raid and
Yeah.
teaching them and stuff, which is awesome to see. But yeah, I would just to be sure, because I know someone is going to be commenting right now, being like, "Oh, you're just going to ruin the game." No, 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 no. It's just an idea.
I think discussions like these are good though. They're
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like it's not something that you're like, oh, now we're adding this. It's just like, oh, well, what do you guys think? And then maybe there's gonna be a lot of people commenting like, what are you talking about? That's silly. And okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But it's a fun discussion to have, and I think it's worthwhile because that's how you gauge the interest for stuff.
I want to flip the earlier question I asked about bringing WoW to old school. Is there anything that because obviously you'll go back and play WoW Classic at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you'd want to take from old school to WoW Classic, whether it's the way we approach things or content like for like, same kind of question.
I mean, I think the very straightforward answer is the vertical versus horizontal thing, where
Sure.
like WoW's greatest, what made WoW so fantastic was their expansions and their patches. Oh, new patch comes out, Anchorage. There's the war effort. Oh, there's Nax Ramas. Now we got TBC, the Burning Crusade. Illidan is coming out, right? That was their really strong point because they had so many important lore characters that they could use to build hype. But it's also the greatest Achilles heel because now all the previous content you got gets nullified and it gets a little bit less important. So something that would be really interesting if WoW ever were to go down the route of Classic Plus, that's the big talk all the time about WoW, would be something where like you could grind stuff and it wouldn't feel like it doesn't matter a little bit down the road. A good example of this, I think, is the rank 14 grind, which is the notorious PvP grind in World of Warcraft, where you do 14 ranks up to 14, and then you get some awesome best-in-slot PvP gear. The grind takes, at least before the nerf, because they changed it an anniversary, it took 13 weeks if you did it as fast as you could. When you got the gear, it's the best-in-slot for PvP. It's insanely good, but a month or two later, AQ40 comes out, and now that gear is better than what you just grinded for. So that feels a bit bad, and I think that's what RuneScape has done super well. Okay, I farm my barrows, now I have a really good tank set. Okay, now I go do moons, now I'm getting a few different sets that's hybrid, and now I have these atlatl darts I can use for this. I got the boppers that I can use for crush. I got like zombie axe with a slower attack speed for like big damage. There's a lot of different variations of gear that you can use for different situations.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you guys have done super well. Like just made stuff valuable down the road for all sorts of different things. I farmed my
I think the problem with that, though, at least in World of Warcraft, is that means you'd have to do that for every class. You'd have to have situational stuff for every class, multiple encounters. Whereas RuneScape, you can just kind of get away with that because your one character does everything. You can have boppers and zombie axes. Like I just, yeah, and they do that in TBC sort of with stretching Kale, oh my god, Kael'thas and his like legendaries or whatever that people get and that you have to pick up that are required for the fight. But the problem with World of Warcraft is whereas old school RuneScape is an option, in World of Warcraft it becomes mandatory. It's the only way to do it. And you're not particularly gated Well, you are by drop rate, but at the same time, you're not gated by drop rate because in World of Warcraft, there'll be multiple versions of that like weapon type, and that's also another thing is that there's multiple rarities in World of Warcraft, whereas RuneScape, you just have the zombie axe. You don't have the zombie axe of the tiger, of the gorilla, of the bear. You have zombie axe. So you can't really have those like niche type situations because of how World of Warcraft is built around. So I guess that is Classic Plus. It could change to where it's just one particular weapon rather than of the X. Um, but who knows? I'm just rambling. No one's listening. No one's here. It doesn't matter.
Black Mask, so I can use it for Slayer. So now I have something I can use for this, right? So
Mhm.
there's gear sets for different things, and it has different use cases.
And I think it must be tough for them too, because we're a subscription only game, and our
Mhm.
whole thing is around like giving longevity to players, extending their lifetime, and giving them a reason to come back, and then feeling that it's easy to come back and return. Whereas they also sub game, but also have box price expansions.
Yeah.
And they want to sell those units too. So then that has to be full of cool stuff, and it has to be full of cool stuff. So they have to have a good motive for players to want to spend their hard-earned money.
Yeah.
So it must be difficult the balance
I
for
think
them.
also just like the general premise of the core philosophy of the game design. I don't see how vertical versus horizontal would like. I don't see how it could be any different in the way that WoW is currently put together, because the whole point of like your nowadays anyway, like leveling is no longer part of the journey. Leveling is a task to get to the part of your journey, which is gearing. You're doing raids to get gear, to do harder raids to get better gear, to do harder raids to get better gear. If you were to take that away, I mean, would people still want to be forming 20-man groups to go and fight a boss with gear that they got 3 to 6 months ago because that gear is better against that boss than this boss? But what's the reason for them doing it? In RuneScape, you're doing it because you want to then do another goal after that. You are going to, maybe fight something else that you can do solo by yourself, or you're going into a different raid because you now have the right weapon to be able to do it. And when you're fed up of that, you've got all of the skills to do, all of the quests to do, all of the achievement diaries to do, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm interested because how do you think it would work?
That is the
Age-old
golden ticket
question.
question.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could answer that, then I would have the answer to what is essentially Classic Plus, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what people are like. Man, like how do we make Classic WoW work, vanilla WoW work in that world? I mean, for me, how it would World of Warcraft would be like. Okay, well, you expand upon the current game that we have, Azeroth, Eastern Kingdoms, and Kalimdor, and you add new zones and new dungeons that doesn't necessarily have better stats, but they have maybe some gimmicky things that they can do for certain areas, or certain bosses, or you can utilize for PvP. But it's so difficult because WoW is fundamentally just so different than RuneScape in the way that the game works. That doesn't mean that RuneScape is better or WoW is worse or the other way around. It's just very different versions of the game. That's why it became a really big meme in like the WoW Classic community with like fresh when can we reset our
Yeah.
characters and go again, right?
Yeah.
Because you reach a point with WoW where like you level and it's super fun, Stranglethorn Veil PvP, pre-biz farming, all that stuff, and then you get to the point where like, okay, I got all my biz now, I'm raiding, I'm enjoying myself, but now I'm like running out of things to do. I can farm gold to get my consumables, and I can raid more. I can make an alt and do it again, and then you kind of run out of things to do little by little. And that's kind of their fix to that was, okay, new patch.
Gotcha.
Now you got new content. But with each patch, it kind of makes the previous content less important. Classic WoW is a bit different because there is a lot of resistance gear and Thunder Fury from Molten Core and Choker of the Fire Lord from Blackwind Lair or Onslaught Girdle, a bunch of items that are good throughout the expansion, or throughout the classic experience. And in that way, that's a little bit similar to how RuneScape works, where like you get a bunch of gear that you can use for different situations.
Yeah.
And I think,
Like the mega rares.
the mega rares and like things you can farm for and stuff like that. And I think if they can somehow make that work with a thing like that, then it could definitely be very interesting to see. And if they ever do Classic Plus in WoW, then I'm quite intrigued at how they would tackle a lot of those core I guess, problems
Yeah.
with it, right? Because yeah, I don't know. It's a conversation I've had with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely starting playing RuneScape, I'm realizing that there is definitely a very different way of approaching MMOs and the core fundamental way how the game works.
I think it's probably worth calling out too that there will be some elements of our player base who feel like they've run out of content to do too.
Mhm.
Like, they've reached the end of, I don't want to call it like the content treadmill, but the people who are constantly at the end game, and then we can't keep up. We release a boss, and they're like,
yeah.
"All right, cool, done it." They've done it in 3 or 4 days.
I mean, if you play a game like 10 hours a day for 2 decades, you're
Yeah,
gonna run
you
out of
are.
content. I mean, I played WoW for since 2005. Sorry, 2005. I played on and off, right? So I've had a lot of enjoyment out
Yeah.
of the game, and it's great. It's a good game. But if they were to expand upon it, how would they do it? You know, I think changing the fundamentals of like a few tweaks to some of the classes to make
Mhm.
them different, nothing too extreme. Keep it to the core fundamentals of what the game is. Make new content that is relevant to the current game and try to expand upon that, right? Because I think that's what you guys did with RuneScape. You expanded upon the game.
Yeah.
And then you just made more and more content. And I think that's what people love. Just seeing new content and still having the old content be relevant.
And you joined at such a good time too. Like we were so lucky. I don't know if it's worth saying this. If not, we can cut it out. We'll see what people say. Varlamore Part 3 launched late. We were aiming to have it ready sooner,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
but it launched at the time when you guys were playing.
Oh, it
And-
was great.
And it just meant like, oh wait, you get to
Yeah.
experience a new expansion. Even if you're not ready, you get to see other
Yeah.
people doing it, and you get to see the patch notes and the videos, and there's so much content coming part of it too.
Mm.
So we were crazy lucky because of that.
Yeah, it was insane. And also, like, added to the fact that you'd had a bit of time to also get familiar with the game as well, so that you knew what new content was and that you knew that you could go in and do it. And yeah,
Oh, it was so sick.
it was all just aligned so perfectly well
Yeah,
that it was not planned.
We could
Uh-huh.
not have made that. We could not have planned it better than that. at all.
No, we couldn't have planned
Yeah,
it any
if
better
they
than that.
Try to do
All
this
right, well,
during
we've talked a
Zaya,
lot
they'd
about
be
different
fucked.
things here, but I'm curious about a little bit more about you. When you're not gaming, what are you doing?
I mean, not too much. I obviously I have a fiance. She helps me a lot out with my stream and my
I can't believe you
YouTube.
didn't bring the fire cape.
It's here. in
It's
the
here.
studio.
Oh, is it here?
Yeah,
I
it
just haven't
is.
seen it.
Dude, yes, you did.
It's up there.
Is
You
that what's
saw
on the
it.
table?
Yeah, that's the fire cake.
Yes. You took the mouse from the PC.
Oh my god, I did.
And it was
'Cause
right next
I
to
saw.
it.
Actually, I didn't even. Okay, I'm so sorry, Guzu. I
No,
didn't
it's
even
here.
click.
It's here. It's
Because I went up
upstairs.
to that desk and I was like, "Oh, there's something on this desk. No one's going to be using it because of that. It's the freaking fire." cape."
Yes. No, I brought it.
All right, my excuse. That was this morning, and I was tired.
Okay.
Right,
No, we
okay.
have it. We don't have it at the podcast, but the
Oh.
fire cave is here. But
Okay, well, thank you for bringing it. I'm gonna go.
we're gonna
properly
sign it.
appreciate it.
yeah, it's cool. I
Okay.
mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, she's amazing. She helps me out with my stream and my YouTube, and I talk way too much about RuneScape and content.
Which is
and
the point you've got to make a play now.
it's my
Thanks for that.
yeah, all the stuff, right? And whenever I'm not streaming, I'm kind of just hanging out with her. You know, we have a dog. We go with the
Nice.
dog and just chill, watch some movies, relax, right? Because my whole life is like streaming and video making
Mhm.
and gaming and stuff like that. So I do game and play stuff like casually here and there, but
Mhm.
I like to just relax a bit when I'm not
That's
streaming
fair.
and stuff because it's such a big part of my life already.
Nice. That's fair. Do you have a favorite series that you're watching or favorite movie that you've watched recently?
Oh, I like old movies.
Okay.
Okay. Like I like movies like Waterworld, Van Helsing, Gladiator. We watched recently a movie called The Princess Bride.
Okay.
If
yeah.
you guys know, it's like a comedy kind of. It's an
Mhm.
English movie actually as well, but it's really funny and yeah, comedy stuff is really cool. I enjoy that a lot. Series, I've been kind of jumping from series to series, but I it's hard for me to stick to some. I think
Gilmore Games.
that's a good series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
when it's like not playing RuneScape, just consuming RuneScape. Like
Yeah,
videos.
it's a lot of RuneScape lately. It's been consuming a big part of my life, I will say. I try to refrain from farming too much when I'm not live, but occasional crabbing must
Mhm.
happen.
I don't think I've seen you crabbing today.
No, my phone has been dead.
Okay.
You guys have weird plugs.
Yeah. Sorry about
I
that.
brought like a charger and I realized, oh damn, you guys have those weird like different plugs.
I was waiting for the both of you to turn and be like, "What do you mean? He was crabbing 5 minutes ago."
No, my
I just
phone has been
missed
like
it.
3% battery the entire day, man.
Oh, we're off.
As a creator, because I see, I've met a lot. I've been lucky enough to go to TwitchCon and stuff like that. and I get to hear a lot of different career goals, career paths, people who set out to become a streamer, people who accidentally got into streaming, a mix of the two. What's kind of, I mean, you sound mega content. You get to play games and then you just spend time with your lovely fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of like next steps you want to take as a creator?
It is so difficult to answer because content creation is so fragile in a way. Like you never know what's going to happen. I mean, I could keep streaming more and more. I could do it for years to come.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I never expected to play RuneScape either. I was to stream it, right? I thought I was going to do WoW content and that stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I try to just make the best of what it is right now. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I have so much support for my streams, my RuneScape, my variety, all the different things I do. And I really appreciate that. But I know it may not last forever. But for the time being, I'm really loving it. I'm glad I have a community that supports me and that likes the content I put out. So I kind of just take it little by little, and whatever happens kind of happens with it, because it's so difficult to predict the future as a content creator. It's like a constant struggle of like staying relevant, right?
And dude, like even the platforms could change, like your YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Like YouTube could change their algorithm, and all of a sudden,
It's so competitive as well. There's so many people streaming. It's crazy. There's a ton of people, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm very thankful to be able to do it, and to do it at this level as well, with so many people watch is incredible.
Sweet. Similarly, I'm incredibly thankful I get to do what I do. Like I just talked about RuneScape. I get to talk about RuneScape and type about RuneScape pretty much all day, and then I go home and I play RuneScape. I'm really lucky to be able to do that.
So playing a lot of RuneScape, thinking a lot about RuneScape, sometimes that can seep into your subconsciousness. Have you had any weird RuneScape related dreams?
Well, I don't know. Listen, I don't know if this is true, but apparently my lovely fiance has told me that I have been talking in my sleep about RuneScape.
Okay.
About dying and stuff like that on my hardcore, man. So apparently I have been talking about that. But I have had a few deaths in my dreams on hardcore. I don't really remember how or what, but I do remember it happening.
So you have dreamed about dying.
Yes.
So I guess that's technically a nightmare at that point, right?
Yeah, it is a bit, man. Because that freaking status, man. It doesn't matter, but it does.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it matters until it doesn't. That's the
I mean,
that's the thing.
You know, take it as it goes, right? It is what it is, but it's definitely still stressful, you know.
It must be so relieving logging in and seeing the red symbols. Like, okay, still intact.
It's still there. It's still there, man.
You just wake up and like. I think the worst one for me is if I ever play shooter games too much, I can be like lying down in bed ready to go to sleep and I can hear gunshots.
Oh God!
And then that is terrifying because I'm just like, I don't know if it's like I'm in a moment of sleep paralysis or not. But I'm like. Then I remember, like, no, that's not happening. I'm in my room. Like, that's not possible, and it's fine. But that happens way too often.
Would the equivalent be like you hear Ice Barrage or like or a bolt spec, bolt prop goes.
Oh,
on,
you're getting
like,
snared.
Oh, no, it's a Kriara. Oh dear. Okay. I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm just gonna ask it anyway. What is your favorite moment in old school so far?
I mean, the fire cape.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's not even close. That is for sure the craziest thing I've had happen. Like in any gaming, I think that whole build up of learning the caves and like trial and error and like spending 2 hours and then Jad comes out and then you get one shot and then you gotta go again. Yeah, I got destroyed, man. I got absolutely clapped. Yeah. So I went into it with I didn't look up anything for Fire Cape. I knew going into it, I knew there was waves, around 60 waves. I knew there was different mobs, and I knew at the end it was Jad. That's what I knew. But so when I got to the Jad for the first time, I was like, okay, I knew there's like ranged mobs and there's like caster mobs. So I'm going to assume he's one of those. So I sat ranged, I think, or magic, one of them. I sat either of them and he did the other one and I got one shot. But it was crazy. It was very emotional for me, which I didn't expect because there was so much build up of the support from the community and playing this game and really struggling with the fight caves as well. And all those weeks of preparation with all the stuff, prayer potions and levels and gear. And then you get the reward. And I think that's what RuneScape is all about.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's the flex too. You get to wear that cape.
IRL as well.
Yeah, no, IRL as well, of course.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. My fiance made me a homemade IRL fire cape.
And she made it in secret, right? You didn't know.
Yeah, dude, she's been talking about for like a few days. She was like, "Oh yeah, I really want to get into sewing," and I'm like, "Okay, that's good. I mean, nice. Get sewing, you know? That's freaking awesome." And she was secretly like sewing while I was streaming.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And then she showed me the fire cape when I got it, and it was a a very emotional moment for me because
I bet.
yeah, an incredible amount of support from the RuneScape community and so much build up with the whole fight was so crazy.
Well, an incredible achievement to have got it so soon. I know that a lot of people who are playing will see the Fire Cape these days as just, you know, another walk in the park. It's just a little simple thing to do.
Easy
but
to take it for granted, like, oh, it's going to be a really quick Slayer task, or I might even not even bother. I don't even care about it anymore.
Yeah.
But it is, think back how monumental it was.
Yeah.
Overcoming Jad hands and getting that first one.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
mean,
nice.
I think it took me five full tries. So finally got it on my 5th try. And every single time I had complete Jad hands.
Yeah, it's so
But-
crazy, man.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's because it's that
expect
build up, right? You spend 2 hours, you've gathered all the gear and everything together, and,
Yeah,
and then
man.
it's like this is what it's all been for. If I mess up now, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. I don't want to mess up, and,
Sure.
and then you mess up, and then you're like, oh, like I know I can do it.
Surely Inferno is not that much harder, right?
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
No.
Yeah, it's easy. It's just like one more.
Like a little bit harder, right?
Yeah, it's like one more
Okay.
wave. In fact,
Unguided, no problem.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, all right.
Mhm.
That's going
Yeah,
to be good.
It's easy. In fact, I think there are less waves.
Oh, really? So it's
Yeah.
easier?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be painful. I don't know when I'm getting to that. My goal is I want to get Quest Cape
Mhm.
without Quest Helper, obviously as
Yeah.
blind as I can. I'm not fully, but
And you're not a spacebar either, are you? For your
no, I
quests?
read everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I read the freaking book in the Dagannoth quest where you go in the lighthouse and you gotta fix the lighthouse and then the
Yeah.
guys goes in the basement. I read all the books, man. I read the lore.
Have you tried examining items around the world randomly?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some pretty cool, quirky.
yeah,
text
there's some
pieces
cool
in
shit.
there,
I love it. Yeah, one of my favorite little Easter eggs, I guess, was in GOTR with the SpongeBob house.
Oh, yeah.
that was so cool.
Yeah.
We were talking
Nice.
about that the other day, actually, weren't we? Someone
Yeah.
asked similarly if there was if we could put something like that. And it's like, oh, someone's already done it. It's
Already done it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's already done that.
So Quest Cape, that's like the big goal for you now. Then is
Yeah.
getting that.
Quest Cape and Inferno Cape. That's like 2 things I would really like. That's very
Nice.
ambitious goals, but I think Quest Cape for me is something I want to work towards because I've been really enjoying
Yeah.
working my way through the stories and the
You have
the-
so many good quests to come forward as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really, really fun journey. I think some of them will probably be on par with your journey to getting the Fire Cape as well.
Okay.
So it should be. A
Yeah, I'm
nice
really looking forward to it.
experience. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
I would love to have you back at some point in the future. Maybe once you've got your Inferno Cape, we
Oh,
can talk about how
I will
much-
see you in 5 years.
Yeah, how different you feel about the game. Maybe you'll
Yeah.
no longer be playing because you hate it because you burnt out and couldn't get it done. But
I don't
hopefully
know
that's
about
not
that.
The case.
No.
But before we do wrap up, is there anything that you want to ask us?
I don't think so. We've been talking so much that there's been so many good moments and just conversations. I feel like,
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's been good. I'm just thankful that you guys want to have me over because I'm so new to the community and new to streaming this game and feel like I've been welcomed by you guys and the community so well. So I really appreciate that for sure.
I mean,
It's
you've
been,
had a big impact in the short time you've been here. Had a big impact, so it's been great. And I'm hopeful that your community, who previously maybe not old school, and then our community can come together and then
Yeah.
share the joys of each other's games and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be lovely. It really would be. But
Amazing.
we super appreciate you coming over as well. Thank you for taking the time and such
Only
an early start.
13 more
I'm
levels.
sure
Oh,
it's
I
going
just
to
gotta
be
tell
hitting you a
myself.
little bit later on when you get
13
back to the
more
hotel
levels.
room.
Yeah.
But it has been wonderful to speak to you and for you sharing your experience as well. Hopefully, those of you watching and listening back home have enjoyed it. If you have, let us know down below in the comments. And also, who else in the creator space would you like to be on the cast next? I'd be really interested to hear from you in terms of who you want to see the most next. Otherwise, I think that's going to be a wrap. So once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having
And
me.
we'll see you in the next one.
If I could invest a ton in old school RuneScape or that same amount of resource into building something new, 10 times out of 10 I would invest it in old school RuneScape. Next year's roadmap is insane. It's by far the most exciting year I've ever seen. Yeah, what would you do today if you're in my job?
Oh, I was not ready for that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official Old School RuneScape podcast, where we get to chat shit with JMods and creators alike. I'm Mod Aiza.
And I'm Mod Sween, and this is our chance to get to know the person behind the crown, hear their stories, and hear their experiences. Today, we're joined by perhaps the most special guest at Jagex.
Oh, me, Mod North.
Welcome,
When
Mod
you said
North.
you were going to say chat shit, I didn't think you were actually going to say the words "we're going to chat shit."
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
intro, you know?
Okay.
That's how it
And
goes.
There's
Whole
this
new
precedent
world.
because we recorded 2 pilot episodes and it had that in it, so we maintained it.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
all
just
right.
stuck with it. But thank you for joining us.
Not at all.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Busy day today, but yeah, good.
What's
How
been
are
on What's been on your plate?
Oh, loads of stuff. We've got a load of the team in today, so we're all in person in the office, which is always a bit hectic. It means lots of face-to-face meetings, but I prefer those. Got some big decisions coming up that I'm sure we'll talk about during the podcast that we're getting close to the final line on. And so there's a bit of a rush towards making sure all of the data is what it should be, all the people know what the right decisions are, yada, yada. Meeting rush mostly.
So I'm just keen to understand how you first learned about RuneScape. What got you hooked on the game? Because I know you're a pretty avid player yourself.
Yeah. I was sat in a community gym when I was 11 years old with the rest of my family. Parents were still busy getting showered and changed after a pool session or something, and I was on a communal PC with an Apple mouse that had one button, couldn't right click, important to remember this for the next bit.
Yeah.
And I went to miniclip.com to try and play Robot Wars, didn't get there, got to RuneScape and got to Tutorial Island to the point where you have to right click a rock to prospect it. I couldn't right click, so I just hammered left click repeatedly walking around, and for some reason that in my sort of forming brain was a moment that stuck, and 20 years later here we are.
Are there any other memories that you have from your early childhood that are RuneScape related that really stick out?
White Gold Mystic.
Ooh.
I killed Chaos Druids to get onids, unidentified herbs. The OGs will remember. And I killed those and sold them for 1k each, I think mostly in Edgeville Bank and Falador Park, until I had 1 million GP, which was about 4 times the price of White Gold Mystic. But that's what I bought with it. And that was my first real achievement in life, I think.
That's a pretty awesome goal. Like getting
Yeah,
1
yeah,
mil
yeah.
back then, that was quite a lot of actual cash.
That was a lot of
Yeah. It
It
cash.
took a lot of determination. I remember being like, I need this many logs, I need to fish this many lobsters, and I never quite reached the goal because I'd always sell early and then buy something I didn't want.
I was merching Barrow's gear. That was the way I think that money
Oh,
was
nice.
made
Yeah.
after that. And then I got a little bit into staking with rune knives, and that was early exposure. But yeah, tons of early memories. I can remember Halloween very vividly for some reason. I was killing blue dragons downstairs in the Heroes Guild. Random memories that probably were formative for reasons that I don't really understand and probably never will, but they are.
So I had the pleasure yesterday of driving Mod Mank to and from the office. We live quite close by.
Oh yeah.
And he mentioned, I said, we've got some podcasts coming up, including yourself.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that you two used to play or chat on Skype.
Yeah, he's a
And
snitch.
just RuneScape friends and stuff.
He's a snitch.
Yeah, he's a snitch. Can't be trusted. No, yeah, we did actually. We used to go PK, and he was much, much better than me. He was like doing 1 HP Darok stuff back when I was still like Sarah Sword specking people. But yeah, he's an OG.
Yeah,
OG.
he is.
And even then, he was loaning me a mil to get back on my feet when I was 12 or whatever it was.
That's really
all those
cool.
years ago. Yeah, he's still ridiculously good.
Who were we talking to? It must have been Boaty. We were having a discussion around like PvPers, and he was saying, unprompted, he was like, Manx, he'd be wrecked now if he tried PKing now. The people are so good compared
I
to
bet he wouldn't. I bet he would. I bet he's still got it.
I
We
think
should
so.
do that.
That'd be great.
We should set that up. Staff versus community.
A staff
Oh,
community.
we've always
gauntlet.
spoken about
We
something
should
like
do
this.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but every time we speak about it, I'm not going to lie, I'm always like one of the ones to be like, I don't want to be involved because people will see how bad I am.
That sounds like
You
a
know?
you problem, mate.
Yeah, I
to be
know.
honest.
I know it is. It is.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
I'm here to protect the staff. What if there are other people that feel the same way?
Yeah, yeah. I would back Manked, I think, in a 1v1 tournament structure. I think he could still take it.
I think he'd do really well.
Give him a week
Yeah.
of prep, and I think he'd be there.
Okay, so you've got like a history past with RuneScape. How
Oh, yeah.
about present? Are you still able to play much?
Not nearly as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
AFK stars a bit
Sure.
sometimes, but to be totally honest, my week is 7 days long, and it's a lot of work, a lot of travel. Tiny violin, I love it. I love the job. But yeah, no, it's hard to get like lean in gameplay sessions.
Sure.
So like once a month or once every other month, I might get an evening with some friends to run some Toa or some Tob or
Yeah.
Chambers or something. But for the most part, it's AFK, which is good. I got 99 woodcutting recently. I'm at 90, I think 4 or 5 mining. Got 99 fire making recently. So I think I'm at 22.15 or 22. 17, something
Okay.
like that. It's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Someone's going to find your account name from those details now.
Yeah, plus minus 10,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
I remember the first time you were introduced, it was like everyone was going rabid over the high scores to try and find your account.
Yeah, yeah. We have an internal high scores, right?
Yeah.
And, I think I'm currently 18th or 19th.
Ooh,
overall.
okay.
So it's not bad.
Interesting.
It's respectable out
It's
of.
quite a competitive leaderboard, that is, to be fair, especially in the old school team.
When you
But-
get to the top, though, it's like
Yeah, I mean, there's
a lot of
you know,
XP
Mod
up there.
Rai, who is going for his 200 mil alls
Yeah,
and
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much untouchable.
Yeah.
But there's some fierce competition, and people get pretty feral
Yeah.
when it comes close to outranking someone. So,
yeah.
you kind of touched on it a little bit in terms of, I asked you what you've been up to today,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's a really rare opportunity. You get to sit down with the CEO of any company, yet alone the CEO of, Jagex Studios, where we work as well.
Yeah.
And there are probably people listening that have no idea what it means to be a CEO. So I was wondering if you could maybe give us a little bit of an insight into what a typical day in the life of a CEO looks like.
Yeah, for me, it starts probably 8 a.m., something like that. That's when I start to look at Slack and email and see what's happened overnight. And it finishes somewhere around 11 p.m. most days. And so it's pretty full on, and the whole day tends to be full of stuff, but it's stuff that I enjoy. And so it doesn't feel like a slog. It feels like I'm immersed in the thing that I love most. So it's I enjoy the job. It's not for everybody. It is very taxing. It takes up a lot of your time. There's a lot of responsibility for a lot of people. But generally speaking, it's a full-on job that I think can be unbelievably rewarding. I think the way that I like to put it is, if you can imagine within your team, if there's a big drama that needs escalating, it normally escalates one level up. And then if it's sufficiently dramatic, it escalates further and further and further. And right at the top of that is me. But it's not just your team that's escalating things up. It's also every other team. So most of the things that land on my desk tend to be quite meaty, quite sizable, either very big opportunities or very big potential problems or big risks or big ideas.
1,000
Which means
relic
that almost
elapsed.
everything that comes on my desk in
Oh,
the average day is
we're
well
getting
worth
there.
a good amount of attention,
We're getting there.
which keeps it really interesting.
So it sounds like a lot to have to manage all the time.
Yeah, it's a privilege though, isn't it? It's like these jobs are rare. To do this for the company that makes the games that you've loved for most of your adult life, like, it's not a complaint. I adore it. I'm the luckiest person, I think, in the building.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that you're enjoying it. I think it makes
We
a
know
massive
300
difference to have someone at
laps
the
to
head of a company
level.
that actually, enjoys doing what they do and has a passion for it. What would you say though, with such a busy schedule, you will always protect some time for, regardless of how hectic life gets?
Yeah, I think it's spending time with my other half is the main thing. And then as much as I can, there's weekend calls that I make to my family to make sure that I don't lose complete touch and go AWOL and disappear off the grid. So spend as much time as I can with the people close to me when I can. My other half lives in Spain, so it means some travel back and forth. So there's lots of short haul flights. But apart from that, gym as much as I can. But that's one thing that's really slipped since taking this job. Finding an hour a day is suddenly hard. But that's something I'll find at some point. We'll figure out the balance.
I wish I had the same excuse. I'm just lazy.
You give me like a newfound look at, so I get either directly from you or via my manager or somebody else, always these massive ideas of things we could do, things would be really cool. And then hearing like how stacked your day is, it makes perfect sense that like you're trying to fill it with really cool things that you'd enjoy working on or enjoy seeing come to fruition.
Yeah, totally. Like it's a finite moment in time, isn't it? We only get a few really big swings.
Yeah.
And in an average year, we've got so much stuff that we're committed to before the year even begins.
Yeah.
That the number of things that we can do outside of that structured plan is like single digits, maybe at scale. And so if you hear me sort of getting all excited about a big idea, it's normally because it's big enough to be exciting.
Yeah.
And it's also because of the scarcity of the opportunities to do those things. And both in conjunction mean that our chats sound pretty intense,
Yeah,
I guess.
okay.
But, it comes from a good place.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
Do you want to use this opportunity of the podcast to like start sounding some of your ideas, and then people in the comments can be like, I like this, I don't like this?
So, I mean, some of the things that
Yeah.
I would love to do. And I think if I dropped them here, that would be unwise for you. I probably wouldn't be doing you guys any favors. I think the community versus staff thing, I will push on despite Mr. IE's protestations. I think that's actually a really good idea. And I think we're closer to our community than pretty much any other games company in the world.
Yeah.
So like, let's put that to the test. And if that became like an annual thing, maybe, or a biannual sort of tournament, that'd be amazing. Maybe we make it part of a Dead Man thing, or there's some special Gielinor Games episode or something. I don't know.
Love it.
That would be amazing. What's coming up with Gridmaster, I think, is a template of the kind of thing that I would like to do a lot more of.
Cool.
I think with old school in particular, it's really hard to surprise and delight people because of the way that polling works, right? We don't get that many opportunities to do something totally unexpected in an unpolled way. And I like being able to deliver those surprises when we can. So a few more of those would be great as well.
I feel like now we've earned enough trust from the community so that they trust us to surprise them. I remember pitching the original league before we even said, hey, it's Twisted League. It's like, here's a concept of something we might do. And you can go back and look at the Reddit threads now. Why would you do this? Nobody's asking for this. And now it's one of the most sought after requested things.
Yeah.
And I like that we managed to build that.
There was a time, believe it or not, when raids were seen as not something that RuneScape does.
Yeah, I know.
And that's similar to the league's point. And now I think about some of the most hyped moments of the year in any given year. And it normally includes one of those two words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is more personal curiosity. You were here at JagX when I first joined, or roughly around a similar time.
10 years ago.
Yeah. What were you doing then? Because I'm quite unsure. I was in the player support team, so really, really far removed.
Yeah.
And even then, were you thinking like, one day, CEO?
No.
Okay.
Oh, God, no. Are you thinking that? No, it was a different job. It was a job in the strategy team, and the job of that team at the time was to help. I mean, the company was sold, so I just sucked up a lot of my time was like making sure that process happened well.
Sure.
It was really far away from the products. It was really far away from the stuff that I really loved, as I'm sure you can tell. So I was in the right building as a player who wanted to work at this company. I was around the right people, but I wasn't necessarily doing the work that felt closest to my heart. It was important work. And it was about sort of outlining where the company goes, not the products, not the games, where the company goes in the next 5 or 10 years. And then making sure that all of our priorities and all of our resources were in the right places for that to happen. So it was quite a big job, albeit at a much more junior level. It's not totally different to this job.
Okay.
But obviously not nearly with as much responsibility.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When was the moment you were like, I could be CEO? Was that more recent, or was it something you were kind of thinking like, or almost a pipe dream? We've asked people, and maybe we'll ask this later on, which is like, what would you do? Or what was like a dream job when you were younger? Or what else could you be doing?
So to the first part of your question, there was never a moment in time where I thought that sentence.
Okay.
It came to me rather than me coming to it.
Yeah.
The opportunity. And so I was surprised, but obviously delighted and nervous and all of the other words that you would expect on the back of an email like that. And knowing our previous CEO very, very well, Phil, who I think is a tremendous human being and has done extraordinary things to bring us to where we are for the last 8 years. My first thought was have a chat with him. So that's what I did, because ultimately it was going to be a big old handover. So that was kind of how that happened. There wasn't a moment where I thought it was going to be possible. It was a bit of a surprise. At that time, I'd been serving as a board member for the company. So above the CEO, there's a whole board of directors that are responsible for making sure the company doesn't take any crazy risks. It does the right things. It's on the right track. It's being responsible, yada, yada. And I was part of that team beforehand. And so to answer the second part of your question, if I wasn't doing this job, I'd quite like to be doing that job and staying close to what happens here. But in any case, I would like to be around this building and this team.
You jumped into being CEO at what I think it's fair to say is a pretty young age, right? Still fresh-faced, relatively young.
Relatively.
Yeah.
Wrinkly head.
Yeah, I mean, we want a competition. There's the competition for you. But how have you handled that in terms of the jump up, in terms of responsibility?
Yeah, there's nothing really, I think, that can prepare you for the change in job. At least that's what I believe. There's not really a great training process for doing this. It's like quite a unique sort of role. So it's been a big old change for sure. It's been a bit of cold water at times, and it's hard and stressful. I think the one benefit genuinely is that I have a really good understanding of our games and our players, being one for as long as I have. I have a really good understanding of how the business works, given that I worked here with you and both of you actually 10 years ago. And I've been in the picture in different ways for a long time. And so it felt like I had a real sort of fortunate tailwind behind me to sort of make coming into this easier.
Yeah.
If I'd never played the games and I didn't know how the business was run and I didn't know what the important bits were and less important, this would be 10 times more complicated than it is. And so I think that's the way that it's happened reasonably smoothly.
Probably also partly as the reason why you were considered, for the role in that case as well.
I think so, yeah.
Is there anything that you wish, though, looking back in hindsight, someone had said to you on week one in terms of advice?
On week one, honestly, not a whole lot, because it was a baptism of fire, and that was always going to be a baptism of fire.
Okay.
I think the one bit of advice that might have been good, or the one thing I look back and wish that I'd changed, is when I first came into this role, there's a lot of pressure and expectation and weight, and I think that manifested from me as quite a maybe cold and calculating outward look. I look back to that first announcement video that I think, did you do that with me?
Potentially.
It was,
think
it was late night on a Sunday.
Yourself and someone from the RS team.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was quite a
the
no,
one
it was
for
the one
YouTube.
before that.
Okay.
It was the one
Yeah.
before the one that we did. And it was kind of looking down the barrel of a camera a bit like this. And it was reading a sort of teleprompter of words that I cared about and I'd written. But it felt less human than maybe it could have. And our next one was much more off script. It was you and it was Yui.
Yes.
Um,
on the
and-
couch.
on the
just here,
couch,
doing
exactly.
the Q&A with you. I remember
And the
that.
sort of, if you look at the comments of the two videos side by side, it's like, this looks a bit shaky and this seems like a human being.
Yeah.
And that was a night and day shift. So if I could take anything all the way back to that first day on a Sunday night at 11 p.m, whenever that was recorded, it would have been that.
And I think that was the Sunday that RuneFest wrapped up too.
It was.
It was like,
We had lights coming back and cameras coming back from Birmingham to here to record that. It was a long weekend.
and I look back at where we are, look back at then, and compared to where we are now, we're enjoying a moment that players are coining like gold and platinum age. And RuneFest was, I think, almost a turning point for us in terms of sentiment. We started the year really quite badly. We had the conjoint survey,
Yeah.
and sentiment was just beginning to recover. We didn't do anything wrong following the survey, which made players go, oh, maybe they're not evil and out to hurt us. And then RuneFest started that kind of incline. So yeah, it's a really tough time to come into the studio.
There was a lot of heat at that time, right? And I think rightfully so on the back of the conjoint survey. I sort of went from the player side of the screen, where I was one of the unhappy ones, to suddenly having all of those coming at me, thinking, oh God, that's a weird transition. But in a strange sort of way, there's a silver lining there, isn't there? Which is you get to come into the role and make it very clear what's important to you,
Yep.
what lines you won't cross. And it was a great opportunity to say, don't worry, folks, no MTX ever. In old school RuneScape, no advertising, etc., etc. All the stuff that we all know is obvious, but if you don't know the person behind the lens, it's not a natural thing to be saying the first time you speak to people. It sounds a bit suspicious. But coming in against that backdrop gave, I think, all of us an opportunity to reassert what matters.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I was really grateful that we were given the opportunity to speak to you in the way that we did, and that you were open about, your intentions of what we would and wouldn't do. I think that clarity was very much needed, even though it was still a fair amount of time after the initial fallout, but the sentiment was still definitely there within the community. So,
Yeah, totally.
and since that has happened, I think you've just continued to gain respect and trust from the community in the role that you've found yourself in. I see that constantly throughout the comments, and I guess how does it feel being in a position that you are, that is so open to the community? I think a lot of people in studios, or even in any role, right, you would never imagine a world where someone is able to just comment on you publicly and you have to see that. How do you deal with that, both the good and the bad?
How do you deal with that?
I
mean,
get
it's
paid for it, so
same.
Yeah.
But equally, it's it gave me a lot of respect, genuinely, for the kind of work that you guys do. It's not easy. The good days feel really good, and the bad days feel really bad. And I think there's probably a skill that you folks have developed, maybe more than I have at this point, at kind of mentally adjusting the highs down a bit and mentally adjusting the lows up a bit, so that you can stay balanced. Otherwise, I think there's probably a real risk that you end up flip-flopping and being too reactive, and that undermines the sense of all of the good work that happens in the studio to sort of push us in the right direction if you feel like there's some zigzagging happening or whatever. So it's it's been a roller coaster that I suspect you guys can relate to more than most. But I think the important thing, at least for me, is to sort of stay laser focused on where we're going and why we're going there. So I don't get too caught up in either the highs or the lows of the moment, whilst also being respectful of all of those thoughts and voices.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'd probably say I do similar, to be honest, is looking at the bigger picture. I'm certainly guilty in the early years, especially of being reactive to when it came to criticisms or feedback coming through that,
Your
may have
first
taken.
day, so funny to look back on.
Yeah, it's funny now looking back on, but in that moment it was not funny. It
Yeah,
was
I
like
bet.
3 days of no sleep, and
It's
I felt
grim.
awful. So I've learnt my lesson to not call out the community in the way that I did back then.
Yeah, that was ballsy.
So, yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
ballsy, and I think you knew that it was, and you were kind of like, well, you're going to have to learn by trial of fire.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's something you can easily explain your way out of, so I
Yeah.
wasn't concerned.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
but I didn't expect you to do it overnight on the very first day. And just stay up till like 3 a.m.
Do you know what I think made it worse?
Go on.
Was coming into the office the next day, terrified, sleep deprived,
Yeah.
to then have every member of staff that I walked past being like, "Oh, it's your last day. Are you getting fired?"
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Wait, am I actually? Holy shit!
That's it.
This is what I was paranoid about." And then like, actually, everyone's fine, and it's like, "Yeah, you up there, didn't you, Ben?"
Yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Little bit, but
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's crazy though, isn't it? Because we have this incredible privilege, which is the community of players overlaps so heavily with the people inside this building, because most of us are players as well in some form or another, which then overlaps with the social media that you're exposed to on an evening. And like it is engulfing
yes,
when things are good or things are bad, and there's no escape.
nope.
So it's it's definitely a fiery thing if you get it wrong.
Yeah, but it's good to have so many people around supporting. And
Totally.
on a lighter note, actually, you just mentioned here, right? It's all engulfing everyone that you know that plays the game, talks about the game.
Yeah.
Now, there's a video we spoke about in the last cast where I dressed up as Yama.
Yes.
I was, the lovely red demon.
Yeah.
And I remember that you reached out to me and said that your friends' group chat was like popping off with
Yes.
them being in hysterics, like, what the hell is this? This is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if there's kind of like any other scenarios, stories, situations of similar things happening since you've joined where, your friends are maybe, I don't know, roasting you, for example, for something you've done or anything along those lines.
Yeah, everything bad within my friendship group is entirely my fault and my fault alone.
Yeah.
Everything good is like one of you guys.
Okay.
So it's just constant shit talking. That's the real problem. It's funny. It's like an echo. Like I'll open Reddit after work and whatever's like, I don't know, something's happened or whatever. And I get the front page of Reddit telling me exactly how people feel. And then I get all of my friends who I've known for 20 years who are like my nearest and dearest who just like pile on. And so there's no escape. So I end up calling a family member. And even then if it's my brother, he'll give me the same. So it's good humored and they keep me humble for sure. But we met playing RuneScape, actually, my oldest friend group. We've been playing together for a very long time. And so it's a strange sort of thing where any decisions that get made, like normally you sort of meet up with your friends for a beer and work is left behind.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
I was literally just about to say, I can imagine this scenario. You're having a pint with your friends and, and they're like, "Oh, so, North, what are you going to do about this?
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Why haven't you done anything about that?" And they're just prodding at you constantly. Over
Exactly. I was doing Tob with 3 of them about, I don't know, 2 months ago. And one of them was stood at Tob Bank saying, "What does everyone think about Mod North?" in the public chat. And I was thinking, just stop, mate. So it's private off whenever I'm AFK in.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that.
I like that. That's similar to how we do things as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite reassuring that if it goes all the way up.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, sometimes I think it's quite like, I don't want to say draining because it's not, because I love being around you guys and having time to spend with you. But like there are times where all we will talk about is work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, talk about work. I live during work.
Yeah.
Like work is just life.
Yeah.
So that's why I like
What
I'm
is
hiding
life?
myself out in the garden.
Thinking a bit longer term then, and I know you love the game, you're very happy with the job, you said you're blessed. Are there any kind of more ambitions you have in the games industry or elsewhere?
No.
No?
This job is it's all consuming in a really good way. I think there's no scope for thinking about anything beyond that.
Okay.
I wouldn't want it any other way. I think if you were going to do this gig for a while, or if you were Mr. Aiza, I'd imagine that you would want to swing for the fences on the job, and there's really no room left for anything else. That's how I feel. So as a long-time player, I think lots of us imagined what would it be like if you could make the decisions when we were playing the games.
Yeah.
Like, this feels a bit like one of those opportunities. And the answer is not think about what happens next. The answer is do everything you can.
That's a great answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I want to pry more into, okay, so your mind is firmly where we are now.
Yeah.
And you mentioned where we're going.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about that. I kind of hear in, company live streams and like really formal presentation settings, your kind of goal for the future. Thinking a bit more informally, because we're just a couple of guys chatting on a podcast.
Yeah.
Where would you see old school going? Or not just old school, but like the RuneScape franchise, Jagex, the studio?
Oh God, there's a lot of answer in there that I could give. For old school, the honest answer is you folks know better than I do where it should go. I obviously have my own thoughts. What I do know is more community interaction, bigger and grander versions of what we do without losing the like sparkle in the eye that I think there's a, I don't know, tongue-in-cheek beauty in the sort of smallness of the feel sometimes, if you know what I mean. And I wouldn't want to lose that. I would hate for us to go full sort of grandeur, big stage and lose what we are at our heart. Like the integrity is massive. So I think the balance is get as much of the additional scale as we can whilst maintaining that DNA and identity of being sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge in the right way. I think we're treading that line really well at the moment. I'm really happy with it. And I actually don't think you have to stay small to keep that. I think you can grow, as we've shown that we've had. I think we are the fastest growing MMORPG in the world right now, and we've got more mind share than any other MMO in the entire planet with old school RuneScape. And I don't think we've lost any of our identity. If anything, it feels like it comes through better today than it did even a few years ago. I think that's a collective view from the community as well. So I like the trajectory we're on. And really my answer would be, for the future, I'd like to just extrapolate what we're doing for 5-10 years. There's no reason why we couldn't be the biggest while staying exactly the same feel as we currently have. And then for the franchise, it's a similar story. I think for RuneScape, or RuneScape 3 as most currently call it, they're not on the same trajectory. And it's very clear that we're pushing very hard to bring us back to that trajectory at the moment. And that's all about focusing on integrity. It's integrity of the visuals, integrity of the gameplay, integrity of the monetization. And at the moment, I don't see a reality where we have that kind of trajectory without making big changes to all of them. And so the team on RuneScape are like pouring blood, sweat, and tears into making that happen. Like the lift is insane at the moment. I genuinely admire the team that are doing it. And then on Dragon Wilds, the newest member of the stable, it's still in early access, right? So it's kind of not a fully built product yet, but we're approaching on 1 million units sold for that game, which suggests that it is as popular as we hoped it could be. And while Boti and Co were in the building recently, I was talking to them a bit about it because Boti, I think, streamed it with Skill Specs. Yeah. I enjoyed that content a ton. Like genuinely, I thought it was some of the best that I'd watched. And I want to get the full game next year, once it releases, back into hands of people like those to see what the even more RuneScapey, much bigger, much grander, more open world environment does in the hands of some of our biggest creators. So there's lots in there, but I think each leg of the kind of three-legged animal that is RuneScape has a ton ahead of it for the next couple of years.
Are there more legs planned? And what games, if you could, I mean, you probably can, 'cause you're the CEO. You're like, I love these game genres, I love these games, make a RuneScape version. If I was to put you on the spot and be like, what kind of game would you want to, not emulate, I don't want to, like, we shouldn't be derivative, but any other games you'd love to make for RuneScape?
I genuinely think the RuneScape products we have right now are the best versions of RuneScape that could exist.
Okay.
I'm obviously biased, but I'm also not a game designer, right? Like you say, I'm the CEO. So I would ask Kieran and Co that question. Gotcha. Maybe you already have. I actually think that what we have is super special and has a ton of potential. Put it this way, if I could invest a ton in old school RuneScape or that same amount of resource into building something new, 10 times out of 10, I would invest it in old school RuneScape. And that's exactly what we're doing. Like next year's roadmap, I'm going to be careful not to leak anything, don't worry. Next year's roadmap is insane. It's by far the most exciting year I've ever seen. That's also true for RuneScape 3.
Yeah.
So I actually think we're putting our dollars in the right places already.
I've got a question which less to do with us, more of our brother product RuneScape. You mentioned the trajectory they're on and like the big changes we need to try and reverse that or change the trajectory. That must come with like a pretty big risk attached to it too. So how did you go about making that decision? How can you almost, was it tough to bring the board and Co on? You mentioned when you were serving on the board, it's the big thing of like minimizing the risks. And
the boards are representatives of the shareholders that own the business. And they chose to try and own the business, making a purchase, making an investment, because they understood exactly what needed to happen and they were willing to take that risk.
Okay.
And so I'm really lucky, we all are actually, that we have backers behind us that aren't doing the normal thing that you might expect our shareholders to do, but are instead saying, be bold, make big swings. Like we really believe in these assets. And that's exactly how I feel too. So it's actually quite aligned, at least between me and the board, but also between the teams that I speak with. Like when I speak with you and the various members of your team and also of the RuneScape teams, there's nobody shaking their heads. I think we all know it's the right thing to do. But you're right, it is a massive financial risk. And I said on a video recently, we won't get through this making the same amount of money, frankly, that we currently do from microtransactions if we change the way that we monetize the game. And that is a trade-off that has to come with a benefit. And I think that benefit is being able to bring the game back to a position of growth, not immediately, but over time with a ton of integrity additions, removing as much as we're adding, and also just treating the game like a game that you expect to exist for 25 more years. So I think we can get to that point, and the risk is very quantifiable on the financial side, how much we have at stake. The risk is much less quantifiable on how much growth we could see.
Sure.
But even in very recent history, we've been at much higher levels than we currently are. So it can be done. I believe it will.
Me too. That's really reassuring. I think that also is how a lot of people have felt for quite some time.
Yeah.
Even looking at old school, we weren't immediately the success we are today.
No.
And we haven't even fully realized our potential. 2013's release, great numbers on day one, week one.
Then it sort of
it stopped.
Yeah.
And it was only 2015, cool, some new unique content comes into the game. Slight growth, and then it's mobile. That was like really like, oh wait, awareness everywhere else. And it's been up since then.
Yeah.
But that's a good 5-year journey.
Yeah.
I mean, people
Yeah.
take that for granted sometimes.
And it wasn't just mobile alone that did it, right? Mobile gave us a huge influx.
Yeah.
COVID certainly helped with everyone being around, but
There's thousands of decisions
yeah.
that got you there.
the reason people stuck is because we had content
Totally.
and content that resonated with players. And
Do you remember the like early assets and stuff that were just like respectfully recolored versions of things that
Nightmare
already
Zone.
exist?
Yeah,
It's still
I-
there.
Nightmare Zone, yeah, it's a lovely little
I do.
archive item. Do you remember Major Arena 2 when that released and it was like 3 greater demons?
that was
I
the
do.
first project I had to
remember
be
it.
given. Yep.
I
And
remember it.
I fought neck and tooth to try and get that through the polls with everything. And eventually it did. It was one of the first wilderness content pieces that passed,
Yeah.
which was an achievement, I think, on, that I'm proud of at least. But my God, the actual execution of it in the end, and it was less than ideal.
Yeah, totally. But I think it's easy to forget those humble beginnings.
Yes.
When you
we
look
were-
at what exists now with sailing and
Yeah, we
it's
were
insane.
a team of like 17, 18, maybe
Yeah.
20 at most back then. Even when you joined, it was even smaller.
Yeah.
think I was
So yeah,
JMod on the news post, probably 10th JMod on the list or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Nice.
it's wild. And now it's 4 or 5 times that. It's just crazy. Plus
Yeah.
all the other hundreds of people that help support in other ways. I'm curious to hear. We've spoken a lot about you think we do things really well. What specifically do you think it is that we do so well on old school?
It's alchemy, isn't it? It's like it's not we're really good at art or we're really good at balancing. We are good at all of those things, but there isn't one specific thing. I think the thing that we do better than most, I think our superpower is self-awareness and community interaction. I think those are the two things. I think we are genuinely more democratic than any other games company in the entire world. We're generally more collaborative with our community than any other community in the entire world. And I also think that we're so self-aware and slightly like tongue-in-cheek on everything. We never take ourselves too seriously, that it keeps us approachable. And if you lost that approachability and the team felt further away from the community, I think we'd start to see the wallpaper peeling off the wall pretty quickly. So I think that kind of speaks to that wink, wink, nudge, nudge, sparkle in the eye that we need to preserve while we grow.
Has there ever been a point in your time as CEO or even when you were in a board where the level of openness we have within the community was perceived as being a problem or an issue or a risk, something a little bit more on the negative side? Because not every studio does it, right? And they have their reasons behind it. I think we are one of the only ones that have the ability for you to reach out to a design director on X and they'll respond to you, or a thread engaged on Reddit or on Discord.
I mean, you'll be able to speak to times when it's been a challenge for the community, but I think for the business, it's a challenge, right? I mean, the polling system alone creates a bunch of restrictions that most companies don't have, most studios don't have. And so, like I said at the beginning, our ability to surprise and delight is really hampered. Our ability to release big, new, long-term features is hampered. And our ability to make very unpopular decisions that are in the interest of the game, but most single individuals would say that I don't really want that, is also just really hampered. And so, of course, it comes with its drawbacks, but all in, I'm really grateful we do it the way that we do it. And I wouldn't take a step back from the way that we do polling or any of that.
I'm glad to hear that. Last question on this subject of good. I've got to do the flip side. What is one thing that you think that we don't do very good at the moment that we should be improving on?
I think sometimes we can be slightly self-deprecating in a way that's a step too far. There's a ton to be proud of. And actually the fact that we are in the position we are as one of the biggest games in the world and one of the fastest growing games in the world speaks to the legitimacy of what we do. And I think sometimes it's easy to remember too recently the Mage Arena 2 release days, or we were 17 people, and lose sight because of how much has happened in the meantime of what we are now, which is a bit of a powerhouse, honestly. If on our best day, we're extraordinary. And I think sometimes we lose sight of what we would be able to do because the memory of what we were doing yesterday is still so recent. So if we were going to be a bit more ambitious, a lot more ambitious, what would that look like? And oftentimes those conversations are more uncomfortable than talking about challenges that we're actually having, which is quite a Jagex thing. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
it makes
does
perfect
for
sense.
sure.
I'm certainly guilty of it, which isn't great because I'm marketing. But I'm looking at things like, and you know what, I'm really, really happy with the progress we're making with anti-cheat really recently.
Yeah.
But there are times when I've been reluctant to, I've wanted to almost tone down messaging. I don't want to overpromise because I'm like, actually, we could just get called out on, the bot situation and stuff like that too, which then, as you said, kind of hinders reach, hinders ambition.
Yeah, totally. Just for clarity though, I'm not suggesting that we should be more boastful. I don't think that's us at all.
Of course.
And we shouldn't be starting to run victory laps because, we haven't won anything. But I think when we think about what we could do in a year or 2 years, that's where I'd like to see us just thinking a little bit more ambitiously.
Sweet.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I think it's completely fair because I do genuinely believe there's a lot of good that we do that other people should know about that don't know about, especially within the industry. I think in terms of gaming communities, people know old school for what it is. They know Jagex for what it is and the good and the bad that comes with that.
Yeah.
But I think within the industry, we're still relatively unknown, so to speak, especially considering our size. I've been at various different talks and panels and spoke about community and the way that we handle it there, for example. And I'll have people coming over to studios just, they didn't even know that we existed. And the fact that we're able to go out and do what we do, how does it work? I want to learn more. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I would love to, when time allows, is find more time that we can knowledge share within the industry, because I do think we are leaders, especially in areas around community, around marketing, and around our interaction between development and community.
Totally.
That is unparalleled. And I want to see the gaming industry as a whole improve. So it's a selfless act, so to speak, but I also don't want to make everyone suddenly be, the next old school RuneScape, but there's definitely got to be something there.
I fully agree. I think one of my personal ambitions, and this is going to sound all a bit corporate, but I genuinely mean it, is for Jagex, one of my personal ambitions for the next 5 years is to be the change we want to see in the industry. And that doesn't mean that we won't do things that are controversial. It doesn't mean that we won't do things that are unpopular if they're right for us. But it does mean that we can set the direction. So the direction we're heading in with RuneScape 3 is very different to the direction that almost every other game studio is heading in. We're seeing more microtransactions and more mounts and more advertising and more expansion packs. And we're going exactly the opposite way, which is super unusual, but something I'm proud of. I want us to be the contrarians on that. And we're seeing less community interaction and less value for money and less legitimate fair proposition. I think we're doing the opposite with old school. And I like that we're becoming banner carriers, I think, for the way that we're headed. And I see that on the YouTube videos that we release and the Reddit posts. And, there are tongue-in-cheek comments all the same, but I think we are heading in the right direction. I'd love for others to do the same.
Well, it's a tough one. I'll be honest, and I think viewers might also feel this. We don't want to have a podcast with a CEO where we're like, tell us all the good stuff. We're going to make this mega corp. We're going to be able to grill you. But I feel like we've done that.
Well,
to an
grilled me?
extent. Yeah.
No, grill me.
It wasn't anything I was holding back.
Oh, right.
It was
Okay.
more of a general
How do you
statement.
feel? How do you feel, Swede? Let it out.
Yeah, what other secret are you going to reveal on this cast?
Tell me what you're upset about.
Oh, okay. So I was just alluding to the fact that I don't know why I've been doing this, but unprompted, just revealing secrets about like my RuneScape history.
Self-destructive
Or,
North.
It is a bit of a self-destructive streak.
Awesome.
But I can't think of anything else today. But maybe that'll be for next week's podcast.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, in terms of like, if I was to directly, use this opportunity to grill, I genuinely don't have anything negative to bring forward, because I think that the things that have frustrated me working at Jagex for the longest time of being here, you came in and you've looked to solve them, and you've instilled confidence and faith that they will get resolved. I really love the way that you kind of like handle yourself, the fact that we can just sit here and chat the way that we do. It's almost like, maybe that's a negative, is sometimes it doesn't feel like you're a CEO.
I mean, good.
But
right?
yeah, I find that as a
What
positive.
does a CEO feel like?
Yeah, it's
Serious?
sometimes
I mean,
unapproachable.
what good's that, right? If I can't be approached, it's a very expensive way to keep a seat warm, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's not who we need to be. As much as I talk about the games growing and the games being big, we're a small business. Like, we are, objectively. You compare us to EA or Activision or something, we're minuscule, but we punch so far above our weight. And the worst thing I think that could happen is there's a leadership team or executive team or a CEO that behaves in the way that a megacorp would require in a place like this. I don't think that makes sense for us.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue against it. I've not had the pleasure of working at EA or Blizzard or any of those to know what it'd be like. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with what I experienced here, and that's it's really good. But there is genuine truth behind that. Is that I could say that I'm frustrated around how long it's taken for us to have a proper focus on player support. But I also know that we've been doing tremendous efforts to improve that, and there have been now two instances where we've updated the community on it to show the commitment to it. I see the changes coming forward. Yeah, sure, some of them could come through a little bit faster, but it's not easy. So I've really genuinely valued the kind of like push and the passion that you've had for genuine improvements, the fundamentals, because the way I've seen it is that I feel like old school, especially, we do what we do and we do it well. We know how to deliver content to the players now. We know how to talk to the players. We know how to market the players. And yes, there's always improvements. But I've always felt like the things that hold us back are those that are outside of our team. And it's almost as if you kind of like came in like this huge eagle, swooped them all up and took them away to your nest to improve them and bring them back.
Okay.
It's a great analogy, wasn't it?
I had an answer package and I've lost it in the eagle thing, but
What, can you do an eagle impression?
no, I can't.
Oh.
So I think I think there's a bit of that player thing coming through, right? If you were a player and you got a chance to be CEO for a day, what would you do? And if you take the crazy stuff out for a second, you go hard on player support and you'd fix bots.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. Like, it's really that simple. It's not me doing it. It's teams of people doing it. And there's like 100 collective individuals making this happen. And it hasn't been the overnight shift that many of us would have wanted. But I am deeply proud of the direction that we're heading on both. We banned 80,000 more bots than usual in the last 3 weeks alone. Like, it's hard and it's an arms race, but we're swinging for the fences on this stuff because I think the players amongst us know that it's important.
I'll echo what he's saying around, like, you've come in, it feels like all the obstacles or barriers to being like, oh, I wish I could do this, but I don't feel like I can be as effective because of things outside of my control. I feel like they're moving or they're gone already. And then the onus is now on me to be like, all right, you said you could do more. If we got rid of this, go and do it.
That's exactly where I want us to be.
Yeah. And
So when I come to you with a big, leery, ambitious idea, I want to see the whites of your eyes, obviously, because it's like, it should be scary.
Yeah.
But if there's no more reasons that we can't do it,
Go do it.
go do it.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
that's the feeling like you kind of have instilled, which is, and also there's kind of something existential stuff like, wow, this is a big change. Can I do this? Do I have this in my wheelhouse? Like I've been used to doing well with fewer resources and more obstacles. Can I then do more with more resources and fewer obstacles?
I mean, Alan Walker playing Sea Shanty 2 at the top of Tomorrowland on a Saturday night at 10 p.m. suggests that you can.
Yeah.
And it suggests that we can.
Yeah.
And what does that look like if
Exactly.
you take it to its conclusion, right?
That's where I'm feeling now with it. It was more of like in the transitional period. It was like, oh, do I have that in my wheelhouse? Do I have the skill set? Do I have it in my locker?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, I'm confident I can. And I'm pretty sure we've got way more we can do.
I'm looking forward to the day where my excitement and ambition is totally eclipsed by the excitement and ambition of people coming to me with ideas. I think we're getting to that point, which is super encouraging for me.
I feel like you've woken up the studio. You kind of shook us around like, no, come on, do more.
No, I like what you mentioned there in terms of like waking the studio up, because it's very easy to be complacent in what you're doing when you feel like you're doing okay. And, we see number go up not just in game, but also out of game in regards to membership. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we just carry on doing what we're doing. This formula does work. And sometimes it does take someone to just come in and be like, okay, yeah, it works, but what else works if you have more? And that has been a really interesting challenge to kind of like go through.
I definitely wouldn't say that the studio is waking up. It's not been asleep, right?
No.
It's been gunning for a long time and under previous leadership as well. So I definitely wouldn't say that this is on me in any way. I think the studio's done this. What I would say though is there's oftentimes occasions where somebody would give me an idea of something amazing we could do, and then I'll ask, why can't we do it? And then there'll be a long pause and then kind of a smile. It's like, actually, we could just do it.
Yeah.
Well, go on then. I think it's hard to understand why there's well, go on then necessary, but I think that's less and less necessary with every day.
Moving away from RuneScape, away from Jagex, we love hearing more about the person as well. You mentioned you're really fucking busy, but let's go back to a time before when you weren't so crazy busy. What kind of hobbies, what other games, if you
That kind of hit me. Like a CEO just believing in your team and being like, well, go on, then do it. Like, why can't, like, I don't know. It's cool that he recognizes that while he is CEO and, like, his voice matters or whatever, he's also like, well, I don't fucking make the game, bro. You make the game. Why can't we do this? Why are you coming to me being like, well, it'd be cool if we did. Why can't we? What is stopping you? Is it permission? Because if you just need permission from me, just go fucking do it, brother. Or like go put the proposal for the project together. Build a prototype to show me or to show your manager or to show the team or whatever. I think that's cool. I think this interview has really solidified that this dude isn't just a normal CEO. He's someone who's played the game and loves it and cares about it and cares about the business as well. I don't know. That's cool. This is cool. This is a good interview.
you played games outside of RuneScape and stuff, what were you into?
Yeah, I played some games. It's funny, isn't it? Like, RuneScape players are often only RuneScape players.
So many people.
I was one of those.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, yeah, I've got my pocketed games that I did play and would play, and I played Silksong like everybody else, so I can make the small talk over cocktails or whatever. But no, RuneScape has been sort of my one and only really for a long time. The last game that really got me was Elden Ring.
Yeah.
The one before that really got me was not Tears of the Kingdom but Breath of the Wild, and that's 10 years ago. So I think that gives you an idea.
That's disgusting.
It was not 10 years ago. Stop it.
I know. It's great. I think it's more than that. I know, it's absolutely grim. But those were the last two that sort of had me leaning in, and I've played every other Skyrim mod under the sun as well. They're all solid. But yeah, no, Old School and RuneScape have been the sort of one true love.
How about other hobbies and stuff? We had earlier recording, most recent one with Mod Rice. He's into swordsmanship and metallurgy and smithing.
Oh shit! They're much cooler than mine.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah, RuneScape. No, there's. I think before this, I spent a lot more time traveling. Spent a lot more time exercising in different forms. Played squash semi-professionally a long time ago. I played rugby semi-professionally a long time ago.
Oh, sweet.
All kinds of different sports. Used to be really into rock climbing. I'm an avid scuba diver. I've been doing that for 15 years. I'm an instructor, believe it or not. There was a point in time where I was trying to figure out if I should go and teach kids how to dive or RuneScape. I picked RuneScape. Yeah, a bunch of other hobbies as well. I like to ski when I can. I think the dream life would be diving in the summer, skiing in the winter, playing RuneScape in between. Genuinely, that's kind of what I'd like the sweet spot.
Hell yeah.
How good does that
Sounds
sound?
it does.
Exactly. But at least for now, it's more of one and less of the others.
Okay. A ski instructor, that's cool. That's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier when I mentioned like what else would you do, or like any kind of pipe dreams or side dreams.
Skiing instructor, scuba diving instructor, RuneScape.
Yeah.
Connoisseur. Love it.
I'd also love to be an engineer. I know that's a rubbish choice, but
engineer.
I would.
What would you make?
Yeah. Like a civil engineer. I'd like to make a bridge.
Okay, a bridge.
Something like that.
Interesting.
I've always been a math guy more than anything. Maths for the English audience. And sometimes it feels like the maths has been wasted on Excel instead of a bridge.
Okay, a bridge.
Wouldn't it be nice to build something you
know,
could touch?
It's really strange that you say that. I'm just going to let you into a little bit of like my life here now, North. In the first time that I saw you,
Yeah.
I thought to myself, holy shit, this guy looks just like my uncle. And you look so similar to my uncle. You sound very similar to my uncle. Your mannerisms are very similar. I'm almost as if he's like, you're a version of him for another world.
Right, okay.
He's a civil engineer. So you just saying that now makes me think
Oh,
even more so.
shit.
It's like there's something more going
That's
on.
so cool.
No, absolutely. It's weird that you say that, nephew. Sorry, Aiza.
So I'm going to ask you a question that we asked in the last cast. I thought it was actually really cool, hence why I'm bringing it back again. Sorry, Sween. This is going to be a new feature from now on.
Go on.
We've got like, what other job would you do? And I want to know, what other life would you live if you could live in another world? If it was like a fantasy world,
This is
different
not a regular
setting.
feature.
No, it is. It
we
is.
can't isekai everybody.
No, we can isekai everyone.
okay,
if
come
you
on.
suddenly found yourself
yeah.
reborn in another
Yeah,
world, what would
yeah.
your dream life look like that isn't scuba diving, skiing, and playing RuneScape? Because they don't. Well, they might exist, but not for this answer. You could be like a fantastic superhero. You could be an elven warrior. You could
Oh
be a
wait, this is
blacksmith.
fantasy.
Anything you want. What is your dream?
You could build Stampot Bridge
New-
in RuneScape
new
if you
world.
wanted to.
You get
I think
reborn.
we should, for what it's worth. Like, unironically, I think we should. We'll come back to that. Again, I'm not a designer. What would I do if it was like a high fantasy sort of environment?
Any fantasy setting.
Yeah,
You ever play Ark Survival?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, you ever tamed dinosaurs?
Yes.
That.
Okay.
I'd do that. I'd have a ton of
Dinosaur
them.
tamer.
I'd have a total plethora of dinosaurs, and I'd probably run an island, big hog roasts. I'm assuming there's pigs. That sort of
It's
thing.
your world.
But yeah, I feel like it should be. Not this one, that one. But I feel like sort of riding.
That's a step up from CEO. Isn't it?
Yeah. This is what people assume that you're like in
Yeah.
person. And I think sort of dinosaur taming, probably running a little island somewhere beachy, tropical. That'd
Cool.
be pretty sweet. It'd be exotic. There's a company right now. A friend of mine's a banker, and he's invested in this. There's a company that is reanimating direwolves, and they've done it. And the next step is they're looking at lizard DNA.
Okay.
And you can imagine what you do with lizard DNA if you've reanimated a direwolf. I'm not saying it's Jurassic Park.
Okay,
But it
it's
sounds
getting
like
pretty
Jurassic
close
Park.
to Jurassic Park. Yeah,
I kind of think that's insane.
direwolves, lizards, woolly
Yeah.
mammoth next.
So I think I've got quite a cool opener at cocktail parties, but that guy's just
Yeah.
made a direwolf.
I mean, how do you top that?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you could put
Stampot Bridge.
the Yaman
That's how
name
you-
back on me, and I'll pretend.
yeah, right, exactly.
Do you have, and this is a really shit question to follow up, I'll be honest with you. Your ideal bridge, let's say Jagex.
Stampot.
All right.
Stampot Bridge.
Your ideal bridge.
No. Let
This,
me
this
finish.
podcast has
You did
got
this
to
earlier.
3 questions ago, we were solid. This is like an absolute embarrassment now.
Wooden
I'm halfway
planks.
through the question.
Go on,
you jump
ask,
in again.
commit to it. Ask
Aiza.
the question.
Jagex and RuneScape, the turnaround for RS is complete. Old school grows to massive levels, and we
Yeah.
are unparalleled levels of success.
Yeah.
And we've got the board are like, you know what, Mod North, you've earned this. Here is budget to build a bridge for Jagex in some new HQ, and you get to do that.
This is a disaster question, Swain.
Okay.
What's the bridge to?
This is more for you. Like,
I see.
There's a bridge in the HQ.
Yes,
You
your
can do what
bridge,
you want. It could be a bridge from the foyer into your office if you wanted it to be.
That's a staircase. I've got one. I mean, I don't know.
I was going more along the lines of like aesthetics and stuff. There was architectural philosophy.
Oh,
that
I
you
see.
like.
In
That's
my-
what I
in
was
my
saying.
head-
Golden
Sorry.
Gate,
Yeah.
is
Yes,
it? New Millennium.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know it's not my question, but in my head, I'm picturing like a bridge.
Answer it anyway.
That's
Go on.
there's a xylophone.
Okay.
So when you walk over it, it makes like noises.
Oh, I
like,
see.
and it
I
crosses
see.
between one section of the floor to the other. You know how we've got the auditorium, the big
Yeah.
section. Imagine a big xylophone bridge across that. When you jump over it,
All right.
I'm just there.
I think
prancing, like,
200 laughs is good for the day.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
That's it. We'll cut all this out.
Yeah.
I think if I was going to pick a style, imagine the sort of Tob environment. I can never say it's
Almost done,
versus,
almost
whatever
caught up with
it's
the podcast. I'll probably
bit
do
in
like the
line.
other agility day
It's all very
too.
gothic and architectural. The world needs more of that.
Okay.
And so if I
Mowdy.
was going to design anything, it would be very ornate.